Hey, David, how's it going? What day of the week is it?
When
did you get to bed, bed hair?
You know what I was saying the other day is there's a downside to COVID, and no one thinks that. And then
I know. Remember, I said, "Who is the guy who said, you know what? This COVID has a downside."
Dana and I are doing this because I could pull him out like pulling teeth to go to dinner, which has to be within a quarter mile of his house. And then we would talk and laugh. And we told SNL stories, and we have dinner with Neil and other guys from the show. We thought, there's so many people that watch SNL. Let's try it. Let's just talk about it and bring in all the cast members or music or hosts and bullshit.
Yep. We could have called this Inside Baseball because it is. Everyone has a variation on a theme so far of their experience. Never forgetting it. But yeah, I was pretty demanding with restaurants. It is a quarter mile away. But one time you enticed me to Beverly Hills, and we sat near the kitchen and had to take pictures for a half hour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that can happen sometimes.
When the owner, we taking some pictures now. Which, again, this is not complaining, but the place we go is pretty mellow. I like it dark and quiet.
I like when the busboy comes by. You know, a lot of people will help you at their level. Like he comes by, he goes, "Hey, Joe Dirt." I go, "All right." And he goes, "Hey, I'm going to give you some extra bread." And I go, all right, because that's nice of him. At his level, that's how he's helping.
Hey, man, I don't mind that because I was a busboy for 3 years at the Holiday Inn. We called ourselves table maintenance personnel managers.
Yeah, I was not a great busboy. They always said, they had a big chart in the back, lift with your legs. I'm like, I've never lifted my legs fucking once. Everything is across the table, and I have to lean over and pop my spine.
Jesus, so you were a busboy too?
Yeah, guy. I tried to be waiter, and he goes, you don't got the stuff. I go, what stuff? This is harder.
It took me 6 months. I was a dishwasher.
I was a dishwasher.
I was that was the Hobart 3000. I was just bleeding and cutting and
we had
sweating.
The cum sucker 8000.
Oh, I would eat the food.
I ate
right off the thing.
Always in the back. I would watch people and go, "Don't finish that fucking steak, dude, because I'm going to eat it."
No, they were just thousands of plates, and then the guy came back every 20 minutes. My first shift. You want to still do it? Yeah, I'm not gonna quit because everyone would quit.
You know how I got fired is because the guy goes, "Don't be a waiter. You're not a waiter," and they don't like when you talk to them. I go, but I'm like, I'm sort of an upbeat guy. They go, "I don't give a fuck. You're the busboy." So on Father's Day, it was packed, and we were selling shark. That was a special. This is in Arizona, which is so gross. And so I walk by the table, and someone goes, "How's the shark?" I go, "I got a motto. I don't eat them. They don't eat me. Can I talk to you?" I go, "Fuck." So the manager goes, "What'd I just say?" He goes, "What are you doing over there?" I go, "I don't know, killing." And he goes, "No, you're not." I go, "Dude, I'm getting applause breaks."
Hey, man, I waited on Rich Little.
Nice.
Everyone backstage, "Oh, dude, you're Jimmy Stewart." I waited on Richard Pryor. I waited on Carlin. I brought him a bowl of oatmeal, and he goes, "Oatmeal. Drop the O and you have at meal." I said, "Give it a rest." Okay?
Give it a rest. There's no blue food.
I gave Richard Pryor a Denver omelet, and I came back to get the plate. He goes, "Whoever made this omelet can suck my dick." And I never knew if it was a compliment or but I think he loved it.
That sounds nice. Well, Chris Rock is a good buddy of both of ours. I'm pretty tight with him. He's such a nice, cool dude.
He was in your team,
yeah.
your era. And but to me, always seemed just, it sounds kind of corny, like an old soul. I just don't see Chris like in high school skipping around or something.
No.
He had this wisdom about him, and he has this skill set of distilling things to the essence very quickly if you're around him. And he gave me an incredible compliment once because I was at 93. I said, "Well, I guess I'm going to leave the show." And he goes, "Leave the show? They're going to have to get like 5 guys to replace you."
Yeah.
It's such a sweet thing, but that was my experience.
He's a smart guy. He's very nice down deep. He's not like a cool super. Yeah, and he I think he's an honest guy, and we talked to him. He's very honest.
It's like, when he's off SNL and they ask about Lorne Michaels, and he says, "The man gave me a job."
Yeah.
There was never any complaining.
No bitterness that he got fired.
Nothing. Just
he's still one of my tight buddies. So let's hear from Chris.
Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Rock, are you in that sweet pad I saw that was near where we ate?
Yeah, I'm in that sweet pad. I told you, when I go on tour, you can borrow it. You can help me stay. I don't care.
Rock said I could stay there. Hang on, Dana. I wet the bed, and so I said I shouldn't stay at his house because I'd feel embarrassed.
You still wet the bed. I was a bedwetter. There's no way to get out of a wet bed with any dignity. what happened, dear? But anyway, we'll get to the childhood stuff in a minute. But Chris, on a day off for you, not a family day, but a Chris day, like it's going to be totally off, no emails. You're going to have fun. Does that great Chris day include having to go on a podcast? Because you're performing.
I love the lady, but I really love Spade.
I know.
Yeah.
So you had to do it.
Anything
Rock and I came in together. Yeah, thank you, Rock.
Almost anything for Dana, but anything.
No, but you
Spade.
guys were the junior varsity who outdid the varsity. But we had a junior varsity team consisting of Farley, you, Sandler, Schneider, and David. I mean, it was an incredible junior varsity team that was being trained to take over when we left, in a way, right? No?
It was, it's amazing that, Farley, like Kobe Bryant, came off the bench. People forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We do a whole show. We go, hey, how about this guy, Farley? Which is
I don't even know why they hired us, because normally they bring in the new people when the old people are, start not doing great. You guys were in rare form. I mean,
that was the beginning of a 18, 20 person cast. When I came in, it was like basically 4 feature players, or there were 6 total. And that was the beginning. And now there's like 21. So it never went back to just 5 people being the cast right after that.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I went the other night and I couldn't believe how long
the credit roll is. Yeah.
Don Pardo's
I was like,
and Jimmy
and Al Roker. Al Roker's on SNL. Like, I couldn't believe. It's like, how many people are in this cast?
Mm-hmm. We started, it was just so people know, I came on at the end 4 shows of the previous season. So Rob Schneider and I got hired to write for 4 episodes. On those 4, Dice Clay was the host. We had a couple of good ones, Alec Baldwin's first show. And then when the summer came, we got picked up. And then that's when Rock and Farley came, right, Rock? Were you a full cast or were you a feature player?
Me and Farley got brought on together. We were the new guys that year.
Yeah.
So we were all sort of new together. Yeah. So we got close offices, and we Rock, who people don't know because he's tough on TV. So am I. I've come off like a hard-ass athlete. But Rock is a nice person, and I was sort of out of my element from Arizona, and we gravitated just because we were kind of in over our heads, like everyone is there, I guess, when they start.
Yeah, I mean, well, they always had that thing. It was the stand-ups and the improv guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the improv guys were more technically prepared for the show. But the stand-up guys, because we write our own material and we live and die by the crowd, we were more, I thought, mentally prepared for the show. Like,
because the show is
killed or it didn't kill.
Yeah.
Like, we could, like the stand-ups, I thought, were less into the politics of who likes who and who's close with Downey and who's close with Lauren. That's like improv guys, because they're in a group think and stand up like Sandler to come from writing on the show and this by force of nature make himself, the biggest cast member.
Huge.
Only a stand-up could do some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
I think I caught on to Sandler. We always thought he was funny, but Chris, Dana, we all know great comedians that never pop or never make it. And I'm like, I watch a guy go, this guy's better than me, and I probably make more. You know what I mean? They're just, They don't get discovered. And when you see Sandler, I think it was somewhere around Crazy Spoonhead where I'm like, this fucking guy does not run out of ideas. He does not stop, and he just fucking crushes. It's every week it was a new one. I'm like, God damn, this guy's got it.
He would crawl around on all 4s down the hallway. I'd be in my office and I'd hear a little knock, and he would come in so gently and so quietly. But he wanted me to introduce Opera Man because he'd done it once and they didn't So that from Update, somehow I introduced it and it was separate and he had a little stage. And that was the beginning. But when I first saw Sandler, his likability and charm, let's just talk about him for a sec. He'll hate if he hears it.
Hey.
Just sitting in a chair and leaning back. Hey, I mean, it was like, whoa, and the girls liked him. Let's face it. And then he's Adam Sandler. But
he's the original Pete Davidson. He was.
Yeah, Pete Davidson, great comic, but I am fascinated by who he has sex with. I mean, that's a big part of my life, following that thing.
I'm at the show. I guess I can say this without getting whatever.
Let's go.
And so, I'm at the Kim show. By the way, Kim was incredibly funny, right?
Yeah.
Great.
And I'm just sitting backstage. I was like, who's it going to be? It's like, it's not me. It's not me. I'm like, she's probably met Blake Griffin already. It's like, maybe Pete. This might be it.
Really?
I mean, it's sort of pushed to the front because Colin Jost is married. It just sort of
gravitates. Right. Like, Colin's married. I was like,
you'd be good though.
No, I'm more of a Chloe guy.
Oh.
Well, the language starts like this. Aren't they're just friends?
Plus, I'm friends with Kanye. That would have been too weird.
Oh, yeah, that would have been too weird. But they always say they're just friends. Then they say they enjoy each other's company. They're hanging out. You see the trajectory here. At first, I thought
they're both lovely people, by the way. So
Pete Davidson
I wish
is
them well.
Very charismatic as a person. I really see why women would like Pete. He's funny. He's cool. He's got a great voice.
He's really tall too. It's like how many funny tall guys are?
Tall trumps most things.
Yeah,
most things.
Rock, I have a question about when you did your first. Do
you have like questions prepared? Did you guys actually?
Yeah, we care about you.
My goal was for you not to be bored. Like, so you got an SNL and then Bring the Pain really blew up, right?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? So I have questions for you that I'm actually curious, like as if we were hanging out. Yeah, but if you want us to ask about anything, let us know.
I'll answer anything you
want. I'm curious about
ahead,
if
David.
Rock felt if it was not fair, but I did one weekend update in my first 4 shows and it scared the fuck out of me. We all weren't really actors. We hadn't done much. So Rock's first show, they were so salivating over Rock to come in and do all these sketches they couldn't do that I remember, I think they overloaded you with so many, because there was a Confederate sketch especially.
Yes. SNL hadn't had a black cast member in like 9 years. Most people think I'm the black guy after Eddie. I'm actually the black guy after Damon Wayans. And Living Color was killing it at this point. And there was like a bunch of whatever, SNL So White articles or whatever. And then I got hired. So, yeah, there was like this immediate thing where like, you're going to do some Eddie Murphy stuff, right? I'm like, I don't do any impressions.
They brush off all the old Murphy sketches.
Lot of pressure. The Eddie Murphy type stuff.
Any impressions. I don't do any voices. You know what I mean? Like, I do what I do. I mean, but so yeah, I guess there was pressure.
You have to act and you have to look at cue cards. And just being in one sketch, you're terrified all week, or I was. And you have to inch your way in. And you were like hosting that first time, because I remember you were in a lot of sketches. They're pulling you every which way. You have a million costume changes. And the scariest one was I was a soldier in the Confederate soldier. I don't know what the sketch was. You were the first black general
I don't know.
or something.
Franken wrote it.
Franken. And he was fucking roughing you up.
No one should have to work with Franken that first year on the show.
Never. That's what I was getting at, is he's so tough. Now, what are you doing? What?
It's like, okay, you've been on 2 years. Now you can work without Franken.
God damn.
He was intimidating.
He's great. He's an amazing guy, but,
he's a little intimidating. Because he's very blunt. Oh, that wasn't very funny. You have to get used to that.
He's the white Lou Gossett Jr. from Officer and Joe. Like,
100%.
What you gonna do? Mayonnaise? Was it that what he called it?
Mayonnaise.
Great
Because
movie.
I remember that sketch. I was like,
he's the Jewish
fucking
Lou Gossett.
Rock. But was it weird? Because if I didn't really think about it that way, but In Living Color is doing great. You must feel like you're almost stuck on SNL, because it's like, fuck, I should be on.
I did. I mean, I loved it and I loved you guys, but it was a weird I'm sure Jackie Robinson used to like go to Harlem after the fucking games with the Dodgers and shit. It's like, shit's happening uptown. Why am I here with Pee Wee Reese? But
Pee Wee Reese, good reference.
When you went on In Living Color, you finally went on there. Was it fun or was it not fun at that point?
No, but I finally got there. The Waynes were gone. Keenan was gone. I was like,
I didn't know that.
I don't even know what the hell I was on. But it was weird. I got to work with Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx was there.
Oh, good.
All of that SNL and Living Color, it was just for me to make friends and to kind of learn about writing and writing on a deadline. Yeah. All of that was just training. And, I was supposed to do stand-up. Thank God.
Yeah. It's a humbling boot camp that just reminds you that everyone got there because they were good, and then you immediately shit on. And it's like a wake-up call, like, oh, fuck,
I'm not the first guy to, like, maybe, the show wasn't perfect for me, but, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Stiller, It's like a lot of people that kind of,
Jim Carrey, I auditioned with Jim Carrey, and I thought, well, they got to pick Jim Carrey. Guy's insane. But he killed on In Living Color. Yeah. I
auditioned, the night I auditioned, me and Sandler auditioned. We were at the Chicago Improv. And Dana Gould was so good.
Know him well.
Oh, wow.
I left the audition.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even stay to meet
San Fran
Lauren.
Guy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is over. This guy.
Smart, funny. Yeah.
Smart, funny, like, whatever. Like, this guy's so much better than me. I am out of my league. And I left. And later that night, Lauren, found out what hotel I was in and told me to come downstairs and basically told me I had the show. I didn't even, that's how good Dana Gould was. Like, let me get the fuck out of here because I'm wasting my time.
I think with Lauren, it's like almost a sports analogy or something. He's looking at people can play well together a little bit.
Well, I asked him that in reference to Dana Gould, and it is no knock on Dana's had a great career writing on The Simpsons. It's fucking great specials, the whole thing. Lauren said the thing. I said, "What did you see in us?" Because I was like, "What did you see in me and Sandler?" Because we both were like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" And he said, "Well, you guys had original thought."
Yeah, that's a big thing is writing. They always look at the writing, and I don't think that.
We both had like a joke somewhere that he hadn't heard before. And
I love that.
That's why he hired us.
What would be like at that time? Didn't Sandler's have the thing about who's guarding Wilt Chamberlain?
The Wilt Chamberlain thing's one of the greatest.
Yeah. For people
of comedy. That should be an NFT.
Explain that.
It should be an NFT.
It was so original and so funny, but I want to know what your signature thing you might have had at that, or your go-to,
moment,
your most surefire bit.
I had a bit about going to an abortion rally to meet women that I knew were fucking. That was.
I remember that.
That was pretty radical.
That was radical in
1989, 90.
Yeah.
Like, whoa!
Well, Rock came with more hype than Sandler, I think. I think Rock, when I got there, everyone was telling me, pss, pss, pss. And I also heard a lot of hype about Farley. And then we knew Sandler from the Valley, so me, Schneider, and maybe Dennis, maybe Dana were helping, saying Sandler's funny. He came soon after. But it was weird. Like, first, you can tell if people had game, and sometimes you can just tell around the office, you can tell it read through, but I definitely was looking around that place going, everyone's great. When you go down to Smile,
it was the
Jack Handy
school of comedy.
Talk about original thoughts. Every Jack Handy sketch, I've been reading through going, you're fucking shitting me. I should quit the business. I don't even know what I'm doing. He would the weirdest ideas.
Yeah.
Hey, man, written. I remember Mike Myers, just shit that didn't get on. I still remember to this day. I'm like, what the fuck?
I've mentioned to people, they ask me about, the greatest cast, whatever. And I mentioned specifically 90 to 93 because there were too many cylinders firing. And you'd have a Toonces the Cat or Myers do Sprockets, you do Nat X, David do this, Sandler, you guys were coming up and getting a fan following. I think those 3 years was like, sometimes I'd sit back and go, man, that show kicked ass.
Because they got the overlap. They got you guys and we're coming up and it's crossing, and then you guys all leave and then it's just us. But
yeah, we had Phil, we had Jan, we had, it's just like, that was a wild time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. I learned more there than I had learned, any other time in my life. And good people,
Rock, you're friends with Kanye. Is he crazy?
He's an eccentric guy,
I do say eccentric because Kanye, I think, is so smart, like in maybe that Elon Musk way or something, because he's so good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes you not fit in.
With Kanye, I always go, is he worth it? And I was like, so far.
As a friend or just as a
just as an artist, it's like
artist,
puts you through a lot, but you're like, okay, that record's pretty great. Hey, I love these sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is this true? And I love that if it is true, but I think he had a problem at SNL with a sketch or something, a music thing, obviously, and there was technical issues. He said, apparently, you don't understand, I'm Stanley Kubrick. So I thought, to me, Stanley Kubrick is like,
Yeah, I mean, compared to the Bad Boys, he is Stanley Kubrick.
But to reference, I'm Stanley Kubrick.
Like, in the world of rap, yeah.
That's an NTF. I'm Stanley Kubrick.
Compared to Young MC, yes, he is fucking Stanley Kubrick.
Well, my kids turned me on to hip hop and rap. Now I love it, but it took me a while. But now it's gone to porn rap, which is very interesting.
Hey, porn's always interesting.
It's gotta go. You gotta meet the two. They gotta meet at some point.
It was inevitable.
Yeah,
it made total sense when it happened. Cardi B was on the Super Bowl commercial. Mike and I did. Couldn't have been sweeter and just gentle, and I wasn't that familiar with her music, but meeting her and then hearing WAP, it's like, okay, I got it. You know what's really funny about Cardi B? A friend of mine turned me on to her years ago, just from her Instagram feed, and I tried to get her a deal at Comedy Central to do a show, like a comedy show, because she's funny. I thought I'd never heard one rap. She wasn't even rapping or whatever at the time. I was like, this girl's funnier than everybody. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? You told me that about Nicki Minaj years and years ago. I didn't know who Nicki Minaj was, and you go, I said something about her, and you go, actually, she's really funny. She's got a great personality. And that was the first me going, oh, really? I like that you look at it with those eyes, because sometimes I can't help it when I meet women. And not that you were dating them, but when you just meet women, that sort of easy, funny thing that comes out of them is always really a great quality, because they don't try to be like Robin Williams. They're a funny personality. I love it.
Well, you're a handsome guy, David, so you think you have a chance. I don't think I have a chance.
You're the good-looking guy. Whenever we go out, they like Rock better.
Okay.
They always go, why aren't you Chris Rock? And I go, I can't be.
Don't you get more handsome than ever, Chris? Don't you get that?
Oh, thank you.
It's not it's not like you're aging horribly. I'll just say that you're very.
We're all doing well.
He looks cooler when he gets older.
Yeah, if I lean back and have the mic here, I'm in good shape. The neck is not happy with this age, but this is pretty good. You lose volume in your face, and your face recedes into your skull. So you need glasses. This is something Jerry Seinfeld will do eventually. But should I ask you kind of off the kilter question?
Ask a question. Last night.
Oh.
Because I'm name dropping.
Oh.
Who did you have dinner with, you guys, last night?
Me, Jerry.
Colin.
Just what the fuck? Paul McCartney.
Good.
Jesus Christ.
Guy O'Siri, Jimmy Fallon, JR.
Did they shut down the restaurant or what the fuck?
And Aziz Ansari.
Which Cheesecake Factory?
So Paul McCartney goes, I'd like something, a little sudsy on the top. And Jerry goes, I don't want anything with suds. Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say that as a name drop. I was just feeding Dana.
Dana,
go down the line.
I do Jerry Seinfeld as a serial killer because I don't think Jerry has two gears and Fallon does this one gear, But sometimes Jerry goes, when he did his president bit, someone wanting to be president, I think I'm just the right guy for that thing. I think I could do president too. He has that do-ba-do-do-do. So I do him as a serial killer. I'm just going to go in, cut your spleen, go down the liver and do the thing. Anyway, sorry. I could do Paul McCartney. Killed.
Kills.
Killed.
So what do you
the
like?
lady always kills.
So when you're in that situation with those people, you just look at the table and kind of go, I belong, right? I mean, you're chill.
I mean, you're in that situation. We're in that situation right now. We're all pretty accomplished, us three.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, nobody looks at Paul McCartney and goes,
I should be here.
How you doing, my equal? Nobody does that.
But he's so, there's no way like
Jerry. But, through lots of therapy, I can kind of relax doing
But
these things.
McCartney seems like he likes to hang out with people. Funny people also get a pass. They like little court jesters around. I've been invited to shit out of mostly curiosity factor. They just go, Spade, go. Keep things moving. I'm like, beep, beep, boop, boop. You know what I mean? They like that you're going to say something funny.
You're enough, David. You don't have to be a jester. You're enough.
I just got the results back. I have to be, they told me. My therapist told me.
So, Chris, I went into therapy with Conan's therapist. I piggybacked on his therapist at 5. I was in it for 5 years. What? So you went through it intensely, right? So what's the headline? What's the takeaway for you? Mine is that I have a hard time taking care of myself. I'm always trying to help other people. That'd be one of them. I bought a guitar for my nephew, a really nice guitar. And then I had a hard time buying myself a guitar. And I have a lot of money. And I said, God, I'm sick. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, this apartment is probably the first real purchase I've made for myself in about, 28 years.
Right.
Since I got that Corvette for
at SNL?
At SNL, like life-changing purchase.
And so what was that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Always doing for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, what I've learned in therapy is childhood trauma is like some real shit.
For real.
And you gotta, until you deal with all your childhood shit, nothing's gonna work out for you. You gotta start at the beginning. It's like working on a script. Okay.
Interesting.
Page 1.
So when I met you, you were a young man. But
I was a young man.
Were you ever kind of like snarky and spoiled in high school? Because by the time I met you, you seemed kind of like this guy, at least in maturity. You weren't bitter. You weren't snarky. You were never in a group with comedians kind of shitting on some other comedian. So I noticed that attitude you had as a young man. But I guess the childhood stuff for me, it was like I had a lot of anger, and it was in my stand-up. It was in my characters. And once in a while, I'd go off on any kind of authority figure that turned into my dad. But I got past that. But how did your anger express itself then to you?
I mean, here's the weird thing. It's when I was, my childhood, I was bullied ridiculously. Half of it, the bullying, because I was just a little guy. And then I got bused to school. So I was a little guy and I was black, right? Hard. So it's like I'm getting double bullied. If I was white, I would have probably got bullied too, but it was just
double.
But you're also supposed to be tough, probably.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, right? And it was pretty like every day. So it's weird. I had a weird temper. It's gonna be a weird thing. I was the oldest of 7, and I was weirdly smaller than my younger brothers. So it was a weird thing where your brothers like, hey, so-and-so down the block bothered me. And I'm like, I got to fucking go protect Andre or Tony.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm fucking smaller than them. So anyway, one day a guy really disrespected me really bad, like mushed me at a party. And like mushed me and pushed kind of kicked sand on my face in front of girls and shit. And I went home. I put a brick in a book bag. This is like a legendary story in my neighborhood.
Like Bad
right?
Boys, yeah.
And I fucking swung that shit and smacked this guy in the face with this brick and then stomped him Joe Pesci style.
Wow.
Now, to the point, we thought he might die for even 3 days later. Every time a cop or whatever would come through the block, we'd be like, we're literally talking about ways of getting me this down south like that would have helped.
Huh.
Long story short, from that day on, as my shrink puts it to me, you have been scared to be angry ever since.
Mm.
So the guy you saw was bending over backwards to be nice because I was so scared of my anger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I was frightened of what, my shrink, the good shrink, I got, like the top guy.
There's good ones and bad ones. Yeah, definitely.
There's good ones and bad ones, and he broke it down. It's like, we got to get you over that incident.
Right.
Because you're a nice guy, and this guy brought out something in you, and you're so scared of that thing coming out of you again.
Yeah.
That you let the whole world walk all over you.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends walk over you, your family walks over you, your female relationships, everybody just fucks you over. Because it's somewhere in there they know there's a force field holding you back.
Interesting.
So in the weird way, I'm like the opposite of you, in the sense that in the last year, now I can get angry.
Right.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of letting people know how I feel about certain things.
My therapy was about that too, though, because I was always the nice guy holding stuff in and not really. My aggression, my competitiveness overrode the nice guy. Because people who ask me, who meet me now, well, did you just allow other cast members, like, oh no, Lauren, do their sketch, that kind of thing? There was a natural competition in me. But in my personal relationships, I hated confrontation because when confrontation happened at my house, bodies flew. My dad was just really violent. So even all my siblings are like that. We don't like confrontation.
Yeah, no, that's
and that goes too far.
My house too. It wasn't violent per se, but it was loud as fuck.
Yeah.
So,
but those things stick with you, just loud.
Yeah, it just sticks with you. So now, I can kind of, I can tell you, hey, I didn't like what you said to me, or I didn't like what without losing my head, without hitting anybody.
Well, that's a home run for therapy. Let me ask you a question. So this apartment, I can't see much of it. So it was a mental leap for you to buy this for yourself.
It's
because you were frugal too in a way, right? You're always you wouldn't be the guy who would spend to the hill.
I always say your best manager or agent is a low monthly nut. That is like
right. You don't want to be doing the fifth lead on.
If you can keep a low monthly nut, chances are your career will be okay.
Make good choices.
Yeah. You don't have to say yeah. There's meetings you don't even have to take.
Yeah.
When the cameo guy calls you up, you don't fucking return.
They called it "fuck you" money in the '80s, and I guess that's kind of what it is. Like, or now it's just no, thank you, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
When you said you were married, and you go, I think it's Mirak. That are you scared she's going to take 50%? You go 50. It's 80 now. Like,
it is.
You don't buy yourself much when you're married.
Didn't we have that conversation at the 40th backstage?
What did we have?
I thought there's so much there. You told me about the divorce, and you said, well, it's half. And, I just mentioned that other people I'd known in the business, and they go, well, it's half of, community property. And then the alimony adds up to more like 60, 70%.
It's about 70, yeah.
Okay, 70%, which is fair.
It is?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, I always say my ex-wife has made more money off of comedy than Robert Townsend.
She also said once, I'm the only comedian that has to drive a cab at night.
I'm going to change that to Uber.
Yeah, I know.
Updating my app.
What kind of choices are you making now as far as girlfriends and stuff, or dating, or like how are you and just therapies informing all of that? And I think women generally do like when someone's straightforward, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I'm just not as desperate as I've been in the past.
Okay.
But just you know what I mean. Like I'm just not like that thing where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe someone's paying attention to me, and then
right,
and then you're in this weird lopsided thing where you both have one thing in common: you adore her.
Okay, here's a quote. I want you guys both to comment on this quote. Just comment on it.
Okay.
Whether it's true or not. Men want to be admired, and women want to be loved by a man they admire.
It's pretty accurate, I guess.
I guess. I mean, men want to be admired by who?
The woman in their
by
life.
Your peers.
Well, that's
like
too.
When I make.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I make a special or whatever, the only people I care about is like you guys.
Right.
I'm so flattered.
Comedians, not even comedians, just comedians. I think they're funny.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's
the rest I can.
And we know we're in the tribe. We know what, like when we see you on stage. Well, I always love how you have the chord and the way you move. And you're all dressed up and you look great and the crowd's going crazy and you're just hammering it. I know what work went into that. I'm like, fuck, you know, and then to throw it all away and just be connected to it. Like I was really curious about this particular line you had, these anthems. And one was, a man's only as faithful as his options, which it seems like it was just hanging around, but it became quotable with my friends. It's not whether it's absolutely true, but it's just a very funny, astute observation. It's
pretty true.
I don't think I came up with it. I think like one of my uncles said it to me.
Well, that's coming up with it. And I
shoved it in a joke.
Yeah. But that's coming up with it, you know, noticing it, and I think I can use that. Yeah. But
yeah, that one follows me everywhere.
Really? Oh, good.
Good and bad, you know.
Oh.
It's like everybody.
A little too close for certain
it's
people.
like any girl you date. It's like, a man's only as faithful as his options. You know, like
they're like, "Sir, are you out of options?" You're like, well.
Yeah, I mean,
painted yourself
crazy.
in a corner.
I had it. Will, isn't that special? I can't get away from it. No, I'm kidding.
Rock, what are the 3 top things that people on the street know you for?
They know me for. I mean, they know me for. It's weird. It's like, especially because of YouTube.
Yeah.
They don't even know whole specials. They just know jokes about this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like specials end up becoming mixed together on some level.
Sure. They don't remember. They just go, that joke. You told this joke. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
Madagascar too.
I was on. I did a lot of Oprah Winfrey after Bring the Pain.
I remember that.
So there's a certain amount. You'd be amazed at the housewives that, or the that are into that know what I do. But I don't know. I mean, it's not SNL anymore. It's more movies here or there. It's I don't know. I'm like I don't know. It's like remember we were kids and you just see I don't know. I'm trying to think. Certain people were just famous and you couldn't even figure out why.
Yeah.
You're like, why is Charo famous?
You know what was hard for me to realize is when people
you're like, okay.
were recognizing me, I thought, oh, it was so great until I heard one person say, oh, I know that guy, he sucks. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't mean they like me. It just means they know who I am.
They just know you. I mean, I'll tell you this, that Grown-Ups is fucking.
Yeah, Grown-Ups is a big one. You're right. I was about to say,
really, any young person, my God, Grown-Ups.
We're keeping the lights on at TBS, I'll tell you, because it's on like
TBS
heavy rotation.
Plays Grown-Ups literally all the time.
1 and 2. You know what question I got, which you guys might not like? In my last interview, they go, when were you the most famous? And I thought, I know what he means. And I said, the real answer is right now, because everything's accumulation. And then they've seen me.
There's fame and then there's heat. There's hot where the phone's ringing off the hook. So I could tell you when I was hot, but yeah.
I'm more famous now than I've ever been. But in around, me and Chappelle always joke about it. I always go, back when I was Drake.
That's like, yeah. Drink them up. 2002, 4.
I was Drake, whatever, from 96 to about 2000.
It's like the third or fourth special in a row.
It was like 4 specials in a row.
All
it was
crushed.
very Drake-like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no $1 Million Nights now, but there were.
Those are you. Well, Bill Burr, I don't know. What does he get?
No. Bill Burr, please. Bill Burr's, yeah.
If you could do Madison Square Garden.
You're doing arenas. You can, Man, Sebastian does 2 shows a night at arenas.
Yeah, unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah, I loved it. That guy really stood out for me. I mean, in the last 5 years, as just funnier.
Especially you go watch him at the store, you can't not laugh.
Oh, I laugh. I was in the back of the store and just going, oh my God, who the fuck is this guy? And then I come in the next time I saw his name, I go in and watch. The funny thing now to me is when people were playing like Madison Square Garden, like I think you've played it, Chris. There's these big places you hear of, like in Boston, TD Gardens, whatever it's called. There's so many big ones. The Forum. It used to be reserved for like Eddie Murphy, maybe someone else. And now when you hear people that aren't even household names to me, and you go, this guy's playing this play, you go, whoa, this is a whole new world where through a podcast or through YouTube or through their specials, where it is a little under the radar, but they have a crowd that comes out. It's pretty unbelievable. It's great.
I think the exposure and social media and everything else, they become friends with you. So it's kind of like your friend, nobody, is playing Madison Square Garden. Yeah,
and also, I think there's more. I know in Europe and around the world, they always respected stand-up as a high art. But in America, it's the stand-ups are becoming the real artists.
Yeah.
Because in music's become a producer's medium.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of singer-songwriters. There's not a lot of, no one gives a fuck about liner notes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that actually think are the comedians. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so there's kind of
because you write your own stuff, which is hard to do.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I love Rihanna. Tom Segura is a better artist. You know what I mean? He writes all the shit.
Yeah.
He writes all of his stuff. Rihanna's great. She's amazing. But in the tradition, the nerdy tradition of coming up with your own stuff.
Would you rather date Rihanna or Tom Segura? Be honest.
I would rather date Rihanna.
Tom Segura is a great example of someone that does. I won't say numbers, but he does a podcast. And then I ran into him and he goes, "We do these live ones." So he makes a shitload off his regular podcast, and then he does a live one. And it's crazy where I go, you do not make that a 3-hour podcast. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes, next one we did, it doubled. I was like,
I don't know him.
He's a funny guy.
His podcast is great. And that's an example of that where I often thought when the web first came out, could I get 1 million people to pay me $1 a month and I'll just go ape shit on YouTube? And that's starting to happen a little bit where someone, I don't know Tom's numbers, but I would guess if he charges $10 and he gets 50,000 people on his live YouTube little podcast, he's making $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand too, like, I don't want to get too technical. Humans need people to talk, right? So, whatever, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, philosophers used to be famous. There's no more fucking philosophers.
Mm-hmm.
People used to be religious and went to a church every week. No one goes to church anymore. So the only place people actually can hear people say their thoughts is through stand-up.
It's really
We're
ironic.
the last of the speakers. And you know what I mean? The last of the thinkers.
Have you seen some of these preachers, by the way, are similar. They walk the stage, they're talking, they're rallying people, they're talking, everyone's into it.
When I'm writing new material, I watch preachers just as much as I watch stand-ups.
Really? Interesting.
You come off a little bit like that. You work the stage, you're like a panther.
Well, my grandfather was a preacher, my great-grandpa, I have preachers in my in my family line.
Well, you see their performers. What works? It works for them. They're loud. They give it to them. People
they find
listening.
a premise. They milk it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would, when my two sons were doing stand-up, and they had the main problem. So I was around open micers a lot. And the main thing was lack of clarity in the setup. So I actually put you on one of your specials. I said, look at this guy's language, this clarity of really digging into the premise. Everyone knows where he is, and then he drops the hammer. So, that makes sense to me. And obviously, Sam Kinison was a preacher. You could really see that,
Yeah.
God.
One of the best.
The hardest guy to follow. I followed him once.
The hardest guy to follow ever.
I auditioned for Saturday Night Live and followed him as an unknown in '84 at the Comedy Store with no MC in between. Sam levitates the room, and now Dana Clarko. Death. I had no way out. There was nowhere to go, man. So, Chris, as far as just fun as stand-up, what size room and what's the situation? Like, for me, in a small room where I've got a notepad and I have some bits and I'm trying out new stuff, that is the most pure fun for me as far as stand-up.
I mean, it's weird. I start next week or the week after. I go to I'm not going to say where because I don't know when this is airing. Mm-hmm. But I'm playing a club.
3 years.
10 nights in a row in the middle of America, doing 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
Trying to get an act together so I can go on tour next year. That is fun. Once you get enough bits that
are working. I mean, isn't the greatest feeling a new bit that's unreal coming together? Right?
I mean, you still got it.
My favorite time is early in a tour. You've been on stage about 45 minutes. You're killing. And and I just feel the audience is like, oh, you motherfuckers ain't heard shit yet.
You're loaded up. You're happy.
Oh, you guys think you just heard a great joke. Wait till you hear this.
And your closer's coming up, yeah.
Have you ever wrote a bit, Chris, where it came together so perfectly that you thought, man, I don't know if I can write something that good again? I mean, or equal to it,
I'll say this bit, when my daughter Lola was born, the doctor hands me my child, and literally out of my mouth, I'm like, gotta keep her off the pole. It just came out of my fucking...
Say that again?
I was like, I gotta keep her off the pole.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Stripper pole.
And it's like one of the best bits I ever came up with. It was like, should I just get women pregnant to come up with me?
Yeah, it's fun. It's like a song. I'm sure you ask any song, people sometimes they're one-hit wonders, but there's one-hit wonders where I go, this is such a perfect song. Like everything about it is working. Everything. Yeah. And you go, and you don't want to be that as a comedian. So there's only a few things when you get older that still get me going. It's like, there's a few tiny things in life, and one is coming up with new ideas, or saying something fast in real life. You're like, I fucking am, thank God my brain still works, because that's fun. And when you still like to do stand-up or still like to write jokes, I'm happy because I know some people that are burned out on showbiz or burned out on that, and they just don't like it anymore, but they go through the motions. Or a comic that travels with the same hour for about 20 years, which they used to a lot. Same act, same every year you'd see them. They come around to your city, and I'm like, fuck, they didn't change anything. But it was okay. Now it's fun to write and see if you can scrape together another hour that's good.
But isn't that, it's sometimes, I would say I'm embittered by it, but I'm like envious, and I'll just say the Rolling Stones, I'm just envious of people, but we have to create new material, and rock stars can just do their top 15.
We don't even want them to.
And I really believe the Stones are better than they've ever been, because I think really winding down on a song over decades where you just know it so well, and Jagger never stops working. I mean, his voice is exactly where it needs to be at almost 80. But with stand-up, you're like, I can't, okay, got to start, fuck, a whole new hour. I mean, it's like,
yeah, it's and it doesn't get any easier. No. I'm sitting here right now. I'm like, okay, I literally have shows in less than 2 weeks. I have fucking shows.
Well, there's two things going on. There's Chris Rock unknown, surprising the audience. Now the expectation is woo. You know, when they introduce you, to make sure they don't go over the top with it, because I've been dropping it, mics, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this guy's gonna bring it. You're gonna really, you know, what do you want the MC to do for you in the club? He's trying out stuff. What do you want him to say?
I just say my name, no credits. Okay. Just
don't hype it up.
You
or
know,
scream.
But I mean, it's weird because it's like
you can't get away from being Chris Rock.
You can't get away from being who you are. And by the way, you can't get away from being who you are to the guy introducing you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that guy's a comedian, and this is what he's.
I met Joe Coy once 10 years ago with Lovitz, or maybe it was 12, and he started tearing up just meeting me.
Yeah.
He started to get eyes were watering. I go, Joe, it's okay. And he's huge now, but there is that expectation, and you try to remember the way they see you. You know, the way you would see someone above the food chain when you were starting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I forget who used to say. Somebody said at their first Letterman, they sat down and it was like talking to a $5 bill.
Because you can't. Yeah, you can't. Letterman was so intimidating to me that the last few years, I would just get on my heels. I'd be in the wings and I'd see him. The last thing I'd say when they'd introduce my name, don't give this show too much respect. Like, pretend it's Bakersfield today, just to get past the intimidation of David Letterman. There was something about New York, that theater in him. And I didn't know he liked me.
I was intimidated by Biff. Biff was standing.
Biff!
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like looking out, and he's like, 30 seconds. I'm like, fuck, Biff, I got to go out there? And he's so casual, and I'm like, all right, I got to get his level.
Yeah, like, I remember being...
Yeah.
I couldn't believe Biff wasn't an actor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he was on the show.
He's the last thing you see.
He actually was.
And they make him work.
You really wanted affirmation from Biff in that. How you doing, Biff? Biff, you all right? Oh, cool.
I was like, Biff, you know, there was a time Biff was more famous than me. It was like,
fuck yeah.
Like, where's your dressing room, Biff?
All right, let's let him go, Dana. We did good with him.
This was so much fun, Chris.
It's always good.
Bill Hader is stud.
Let me say this about Bill Hader. Mm-hmm. If I was having a conversation of who was the greatest SNL cast member, if someone said Bill Hader, I wouldn't slug him in the face. I wouldn't slug him in the face. I wouldn't get mad. I'd really go, I see.
If someone said who was the tallest SNL cast member and they said Bill Hader, I still would go,
I wouldn't get mad. I wouldn't slug him in the face.
I wouldn't be pissed off. I wouldn't fight him too hard.
I wouldn't fight him. I just go, okay.
I just don't know. I see him, and I really, he is fucking tall.
If someone said that Will Ferrell was shorter than me, I wouldn't get mad. I wouldn't slug him in the face.
I would, because
I wouldn't slug him in the face. So Bill Hader is brilliant on Saturday Night Live and his show Barry.
Barry, yeah. He made the jump. And, you know, to go from SNL, no matter how good you are, to jump over and he's on a great show is always tough, because there's sections of your life, your career, boom, boom, boom. And, you know, to still be talked about, still be known is great. It's a very tricky situation.
There's a part of being on SNL. I always think everyone... I don't always thank everyone, but
what do you always think?
Here's what I'm trying to point out. You're kind of your best right before you leave, because I was asking Fred Armisen, who's Batman and Robin. I don't know which one was Batman, but they were twinsies on their last year of SNL. Fred Armisen and Bill Hader. I said, you guys were just so loose. There was no sense of pushing, trying to be funny. And they go, well, we just were having fun. We knew we were leaving. And we just were. Yeah,
there's something to that.
You can't be too loose on SNL. And Bill Hader hit some. First of all, he's quirky. You know, his Vincent Price thing is crazy. Yeah. His impressions are weird. Like that newscaster guy he does, who keeps hitting himself in the face.
What about the puppet guy?
And the ventriloquist guy?
Yeah.
He's got so many funny hooks. And I'll tell you, anecdotally, if you have a minute.
Yeah.
I was there hosting, and my sons were with me, and they were just little kids. I remember Fred and Bill being so sweet and gentle. Like, they were, like, if you see them on the show, they're like powerful, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you meet them personally, they're kind of shy and very thoughtful. They're not on all the time. And Bill Hader is such a good audience. He has an incredibly intense laugh.
Yeah. When people meet me, they go, this guy's like a hard-ass athlete. And then they realize I'm just a tough guy. Like, I'm just a run-of-the-mill, like, fucking badass.
Oh, yeah. I was terrified the first time I met you. I'd seen you on Update. I went, this guy's a badass.
I get up, I do 5 crunches in the morning, whether I feel like it or not. I'm just boom, 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 knock them out. And then I lay down. If someone told
me that you could kick my ass in a street fight, I wouldn't slug him in the face.
You wouldn't fight him on
No, because you're scrappy. Arizona people, anyone who grew up in 112-degree heat and come out of that doing stand-up at 19, I mean, you're scrappy.
I'm scrappy, and I fight, and my dad left me, and it all comes out when I do a fight. But listen.
He had a really easy childhood. Mine was kind of rough.
Is that right? If you can tell. The reason
we bonded over our
childhood.
Mutual roughness.
But I will tell you, you did not know this.
What?
Willie Hader went to my college. And nobody gives a fuck. But it's true. Me and him do.
Billy Hader went to your college?
Not even ASU. The Stepping Stone Scottsdale community where I went and got a 3.25, which is kind of shitty for like basically high school still. And
Were
I
you
went
a national chess champ or something?
I was, and then I got stupid at the wrong time.
So you were phoning it in even then.
I was smart from kindergarten to 8th grade, and then fucking spiked down freshman year, right when they started going, okay, are you smart? We're going to start writing it down now, your grades. And I'm like, oh, well, now.
If only they told us why we were learning math, because that was the best sleep literally I ever got in my life. X plus Y equals snooze. I mean, it literally hypnotized me. I couldn't even make. They said, this is how we make rocket ships. I would have been sitting up. Motherfuckers.
They basically said, X plus Y equals Z, Z, Z.
Yeah.
Later.
But that you don't fall asleep when you see the great Bill Hader do his thing.
No, he went to my Scottsdale Community College, and we were the artichokes. We're going to ask him about it. And fucking we both somehow,
was the mascot really the artichokes?
Yeah,
That's
funny?
Not a joke?
I swear to God.
The Arizona artichokes?
Yeah, Scottsdale.
Wow. That is awesome.
Dude,
we were the Scots.
6 credits in anthropology from there, and I only need 180 more to graduate, so I might pick it up this summer. Anyway, here's Bill Hader,
Dr.
folks.
David Spade.
Yeah, he's a real genius.
Here's Bill Hader, our friend, and one of the funniest people in the world. David, be in the moment.
I am.
Don't talk over me. God damn it.
That's all we do is talk over each other. We should let Bill talk at some point in this, but not like right away.
Oh, it's okay. I like watching you guys.
You've talked enough, right?
Yeah.
This is a conversation.
Bill Hader. Hang on.
We're not narcissists, but you can ask us questions too.
Yeah. This is more of a discussion.
Oh, I'm moderating. Oh, that's how your podcast goes. I moderate a discussion between you two. That's what I guess. About your relationship and your time.
Bill Hader. Look how much I prepared.
I know. I was like, Bill Hader, I know the name.
Yeah.
And I know his game. I know his game.
This fucking dude. He's got some game, Dana. This guy's
motherfucker broke all the rules.
Yeah.
And I love him for it. The rules are every fucking guy holding his dick walking into a bar says, I'd like to direct. And everyone goes, yeah. Here's what you do, kid. You put on the makeup, you dance like a clown, they pay you. You dance. You're a clown. He goes, no, I'm not. I'm Martin Scorsese. No, you're a fucking bozo, a fucking clown. Now take this fucking movie from Paramount. We'll give you 20 large up front. So Bill says, all right, go ahead, Bill.
Oh my God. Mr. Michaels, I would.
Oh, was it Lauren asking you to do a character movie?
Yeah, I think Lauren he wanted to do a character movie, yeah. But
maybe this summer, maybe when you're on break.
Maybe. Well, it was a hard one to do. He wanted to do a Stefan one, and then I think John Mulaney and I were like, it didn't work as a sketch.
That's a good reason.
You know what I mean? We're like, it died twice at the table, and then we did it a couple of times at dress, and it was terrible. It was low energy, weird thing that never worked. And so then it was like, oh, okay, and
Well, let's just shoot it and look at the whole movie and see.
We can burn it if it doesn't work. We can burn it.
And if you get a little burned or singed, it happens.
And we'll take it outside, and Marcy will set it on fire. We've done this before. We set
Marcy,
it on fire.
get the wizard lighter fluid on my desk next to the certs.
Lauren, I'm going to fly, Lauren. I fly now. Marcy, you don't fly. Look at the Book of Lauren, page 7, the Stefan movie.
Lauren.
The Book of Lauren.
Oh, wait, did you guys have things? Yeah, we had we can do a movie, and then we were like, well, it doesn't work as a sketch. It kind of just works on update.
It went from a sketch to update or update to a sketch?
It did not work as a sketch, and then it was Doug Abels who was running update going, I need something. What about that Club Kid thing you did?
Give me that thing that bombed. Do you still have it?
You know what
it's
I mean?
on my desk. Get it in here.
No, that's very.
Do you know what I mean? Where it was just
well,
like,
updates
update.
a little less pressure in a weird way. It's just you doing it directly, and if they buy it, they buy it. You don't have to rely on a whole thing.
Yeah, it worked better when it was like, because I don't know. Do you guys remember? It's just like low energy, weird shit. Just didn't. But just that feeling of like, oh, I got a low energy, weird thing.
Right.
This isn't going to work.
And how do you do that in a 90-minute corporate funny vehicle?
You can't.
We couldn't even take Hans and Franz off their set. We got to get them off their set. So we put them in a campground scene with Al Franken. Death!
Oh, in a sketch? What about the movie?
Then we got him on the set, and then we're pointing. No, we had the movie written, Hans and Franz, the Girly Man Dilemma, but that went... That
would have been good. I think that would have been good, though.
Oh, wait.
Let's get back to Bill Hader.
You tried taking them off the set and it didn't work.
No, I put Church Lady.
You wrote a sketch. You guys do that all. That happens all the time where you go like, oh, let's not do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And then you realize like, no, that's what they like is seeing.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like they go, Dana, they go, Hans and Franz, here you are in the gym for 19 sketches, and they put you in like a store, and they're like, who the fuck are these two people? Like no one even understands the sketch.
Hey, not cool.
Yeah, not cool. Put them in the fucking gym. Cool. I know the jokes, and I will laugh. I know how to do this.
But you're at home base. You're screaming at the audience right behind the camera. Yeah, you curly man, you losers. And then we're over in the corner in 8H in a quiet campground scene. Yeah, would you like another Wiener Schnitzel? Nothing.
You like some s'mores?
So I think it was why. I think Stefan is brilliant, but I think it might have been a wise decision. That would have been a challenge.
No, the sketch did not work. I mean, it just never worked.
Bill.
You could hear your footfalls on the. It was one of those things where I could hear if I like placed a glass on a table in the sketch, you could hear
it was loud.
It was just dying. It was like, that's
the tiniest.
So bad.
Well, Bill, your next question to us is: was there a Gap Girls movie? Which is a good, fair question. There was not, but.
That would have worked.
There was.
Wait, did you guys do Did you guys write a Gap Girls movie?
You got scared. You go, did you do one? I didn't see it. No, we didn't write it, but
he got scared.
We would not get scared. I know it didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. But it was sort of when I thought movies were very easy to come by because I was delusional because one summer we did Tommy Boy. Lauren had a deal with Paramount. It was sort of easy. Like, and then next summer, why don't you guys do Black Sheep? And we're like, great. And then next summer, maybe you guys could do Gap Girls movie. And the things that had against it were me writing it, which was probably the first thing. And
then now.
I was running out of sketch ideas that were 4 minutes long. So I remember we did one about Jeopardy because Gapperty just sounded like a funny name for a sketch. But there was no sketch. And so I go, if me, Farley, and Adam are the contestants, it'll be funny. And Courtney Cox was the host, and we have to ask her about that because that was the first time I wrote something, and I was so joyous that it was on, and I was
just your name on it. That's just solely you?
for Gap's Girls,
wow.
And then I do it, and Courtney goes, I don't really have a thing to play as the host, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think about any other character. It's so rude. Like I'm so worried about our shit and trying to get Farley to make sure everything he says is in all caps.
What was your catchphrase for Gap Girls? What was your catchphrase?
I don't know if there was one. I mean,
the thing everybody remembered was lay off.
Oh, lay off me! I'm starving.
I'm starving. That was the
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was my proudest writing moment. Was that one because
lay off me? I'm starving.
That one worked.
Destroyed.
Yeah, and also in that one, Bill, there was a in rehearsal. It says, like we're at the mall. At the food court, and then we see the girls from Donut Hut. Everyone knows the sketch. I mean, I don't even know why I'm explaining it. And Schneider comes in
notes
with Sarah Gilbert as Donut Hut sluts, and we argue with them. Obviously, there's a rivalry, and then at the end of the week, they go, "We'll see you guys Friday," and then it goes away to a card. It says 3 days later of the mall, and then it comes back, and then in rehearsal, I go, "Isn't it weird? We're all wearing the same thing we did 3 days later." And we laugh. So I go, "Hey, Adam," on the live show, I go, "When we do that, when we come back, I'm going to say that." And you say, "I don't think we are." And I go, "Trust me, we are." Because it's only 5 seconds of real time.
Yeah.
And so we added that, which was fun. And then lay off me, I'm starving. Farley fucking nailed. And then I said, we can't do a movie. I'm out. That's it. I don't want to wear.
All right, let's talk about Bill's
this
SNL.
this story has 20 more
back.
minutes.
Wait, hold on, David. What was the one where you
sorry.
said you were the contestant on a thing and you said, "Oh, that's sweet."
Oh, sweet. That was Keith Weaver Spaz.
Oh my God! I get in my Scirocco.
It's gonna be sweet.
It's gonna be sweet.
God dang.
Well, what we do for money.
Is that in Arizona? Wait, real quick. Is that an Arizona dude or is that?
No, that was just. I had a guy that used to talk, I guess, in class, and so when you get assigned a sketch, they go, "Can you be sort of a whatever?" So. That one just sounded funny because I don't really do big characters, and that one sounded funny. And my friend had a Scirocco and it was all whited out, and it was very cool, and had white rims, everything. Scirocco over at SCC.
Oh yeah, that's where I just did I just did a talk at SCC.
Oh, you did?
We went to the same community college, Dana, but
Scottsdale.
Left. I went out of state to go to a community.
This is the funniest story. He's from Oklahoma, right? And then you
from Oklahoma to Arizona.
And I went to Arizona to the Art Institute of Phoenix because my grades were so bad and they didn't care. And then when I was there, a guy there was like, "Well, at Scottsdale Community College, they're shooting stuff on film." And I went, "Oh, this is in 97 or something when shooting on video was lame." And so we went there and they were like, David Spade.
Yeah, I went there because they had tennis. It was a little different, but
what was the mascot of Scottsdale Community?
Artichoke.
The Artichokes? Okay.
It was the Artichoke.
That's hysterical.
And then I worked on Mill Avenue at a movie theater. I worked at Centerpoint Movie Theater.
I love it. Yeah, down in Tempe.
As an usher or running the film, or what were you doing?
I was an usher. And I looked like Charles Manson. I had like a long beard and long hair with the cummerbund and the little tie on. And
cummerbund.
So the idea when you're the type of usher who would then, when there wasn't many people around, just sit in on movies, was you be that kind of guy?
Yeah, I would sit and watch movies. The guy that there's a guy I worked with, and you had this whole thing about like you can't bring food into the theater, outside food into the theater, and I became like really obsessed with nailing people because it was just fun to feel like, whoa, no, I was just like, and this one dude was, I forget his name, but he was such a like, just kind of a stoner guy, and we were out. I was by the concession stand, and this guy came in with a wedding cake.
Just to sit
and his ticket stub in his mouth. And he was like, "Hey, can I put this in the back? I was just gonna go see a movie." So one, I'm like, who brings a wedding cake to a movie? And two, I was like, went to this stoner guy. I'm like, did you not see the guy with the fucking wedding cake? You tore his tickets and you put the stubs back in his mouth. He was like, "Oh yeah, man. The guy seemed, he had a cake."
Yeah.
I
I just saw Spider-Man, and the usher goes, they like overhelp. He goes, I'll walk you to the theater. I go, I think I got it. And he goes, 3 hours, dude. And I go, oh, immediate buzzkill. I go, oh, it is? He goes, yeah. And he goes, and at the end, all the Spider-Mans. I go, hey, don't be like spoiler guy. Just let me get in there.
Take it down a peg,
yeah,
Kiko,
fucking
okay?
guy.
There you go.
Come on. What are you, the false ending guy or something?
And he's going down the river like Kurtz.
Colonel Kurtz is a great Dennis. One of his go-to, like Colonel Kurtz up there in the cave.
Going down the river like Kurtz.
Getting that sponge on his head in the cave, shooting for the Oscar, right? Like the way the Sheen Cat hides in the shallows, okay?
I have all these sketches of Bill's I want to go over, but
while we're here in his youth, because we'll kind of maybe we can go. Hey, we're just making this up, Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
But we know you're a filmophile, so you go to the theater, you're seeing films. Do you remember the first film? Because I could say 2001 for me in a theater or on television. The first film or TV show when you went, holy shit, what the fuck is this?
It was like always like I was at a sleepover at this kid's house, and his older brother was like, we were 12, and like, the 15-year-old older brother came in and was like, I'm going to show you this movie Taxi Driver.
Whoa.
Wow.
And we all were like, what?
That's heavy.
Oh, dude, we can't be watching this,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is really intense. But there was a scene in that movie where with all the violence and stuff in it, there's a scene where Robert De Niro takes Sybil Shepherd to a porno movie that's still like one of the most embarrassing
that's great
things I've ever seen in a thing ever. It's just impossible to watch and it's so bad. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
But then afterwards he calls her and it's him on a payphone in a hallway seeing if she got these flowers he sent her. And he's like, I didn't know you didn't like those kind of movies or whatever. And it was so embarrassing to watch. And then as it was happening, the camera just dollied off of him as he's talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, wow, the movie doesn't want to watch this. Like, it was like, oh, you're allowed to do that. It like unlocked this thing in my head where I was like, so it was weird. This weird night where this older brother thought he was kind of like, fucking us up or whatever. And instead I got like really jazzed by that. It was hard after that to be like, let's watch The Natural.
Yeah.
Or like whatever movies my friends wanted to watch. It was like, no, I want to.
But that's so interesting that you think they just show, like when I see movies, they show that guy, and then you cut and show that guy talking. And even dolly shots are weird. And then you fade off them. And in your head to think, oh, it's because he's boring and it's odd and it's getting extra. And you go, oh, yeah, are you allowed to do that? And then.
Yeah, it's like an emotional thing. It was like it felt intuitive and emotional, and it was like, oh, I don't want to watch this, so let's give them some space.
Could I
oh, that's so cool.
Connect the dots on that a teeny bit with you, Bill? I was watching the episode where you're going to go kill the guy. He ends up being a martial artist, and then you have a fight with the daughter on Barry.
Yeah.
Well, when you come in and we know he's the mark, you come in and you stay on him a long time, and we just hear your voice.
Yeah.
Talking about it's not going to happen. It's going to be okay. But there's no shot of you at that point. I don't know. Yeah. It just reminds me. It had some visceral, emotional.
Yeah. You kind of like, it was like an instinctive thing of like, oh, you don't know what he's looking at. And then the reveal that I'm in this like weird costume.
Spider-Man almost or something.
Yeah. This weird, like one of the guys, terrorists at Munich games or something. Like he had this weird look. And then, but that's what I mean. You kind of go like, well, it takes a while to get that kind of confidence to do that. The crew looks at you like you're nuts.
You're not doing coverage. What? Yeah.
We ended up shooting a 2-shot of us because the DP and other people were like, I don't get this. And I just went, okay, we'll shoot this. And then and then you get in the edit and say, well, I kind of want it this way.
Well, I think, that's Barry, which we'll get to in a little bit. But so as you're going along, just a few more touchstones. What, Deer Hunter? Are you like kind of the darker kind of films?
Yeah, those kind of movies were always. There's a movie Last Detail with Jack Nicholson. I love.
That was Hal Ashby and Judd Apatow talked about that.
Yeah, I love that film.
Yeah,
Judd directed that. Hey, Bill, what about
Jack?
what about
Jack Nicholson? If you could just,
he goes, "This Judd."
You could just say I think my balls hurt. This last detail, they had the big God mic.
Yeah.
Randy, before you, no, Randy, look at him and be like, oh, geez, I guess I got my semen all over the place.
Think of your gun as a horse's cock. Your gun is like a horse's cock.
Does a thing and it doesn't land. There's always a pause, and then he goes,
Judd said Deer Hunter could have been a half hour longer. No, but
Really?
No, I'm kidding. But I saw.
I would have.
What about in Taxi?
He makes fun of that.
We make fun of it because I showed him my HBO my new Netflix special. It's an hour 6. He goes, I think it could be 2 hours. Let me see it. I go, well, no, there's not even that many. Not that much material. I'll find it. But what about in Taxi Driver that stood out to me? This is the tiniest thing, but when he's embarrassing, going the thing that says, "I've got to get organized."
Yeah, the card.
And she's like, "What?" I gotta
get organized. That's on his wall. No, it's like, I gotta get organized.
That was something my mom had.
And then he's like, this thing says I gotta get organized, and she's like, and then he buys her a record that she says she already has. Like, the whole thing is just awkward. Where you're like, dude, just like stop it. This is so sad.
Yeah.
And you're 12 watching that.
I'm 12 watching this.
Yeah.
The girls are like a total mystery to me. And I'm like, okay, don't do any of this.
Right. I thought it was like a lesson in how to do it.
Yeah.
But I told Dana I saw Tommy when I was 12. Remember Tommy? And it scared me and I had a stomach ache.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
The beans, the scene in Tommy with all the... remember the scene with the beans where, isn't it like Anne Margaret or someone?
Yeah.
Like, makes no sense, scared me. Oh, Acid Queen, when the guy got fire and it burned his face at the beginning with Tina Turner. I don't know what the fuck. I just saw Grease before that. I'm like, what's going on here? Let's keep it light, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one was rough.
What's going on?
I always liked a lot of those. Yeah, but I also like love Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect movie.
The Godfather, and
never can watch that any day of the week. Godfather. What about Alien? How did you find Alien?
Like Once Upon a Time in the West. You remember that?
Oh yeah, with Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda, where he's the bad guy.
I'm gonna shoot you right now if the last thing I ever do. I'm Henry Fonda.
Now that you've said my name, he shoots a kid.
Oh, he shot a kid?
Yeah, he shoots a kid.
Yeah, the old gunslinger, one of those spaghetti westerns.
This guy goes, we got them all, right? When he says his name, and he goes, well, now that you've said my name. And he turns around and shoots a kid, and you're like, Jesus Christ. I was like, geez, let's relax.
Yeah.
Sergio.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all those 70s movies. And then a big one, what a big one I saw in the theater was, and it's a weird one, was I took a girl to go, like my first, you're going with somebody.
A date. Okay.
Date.
Yeah.
And she wanted to go see Father the Bride with Steve Martin, and I took her to go see Barton Fink.
Oh,
all
wow.
Right. That was...
And she was like, okay, thanks. Well... we never really need to speak.
Not a panty dropper.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, that movie was amazing. It's still one of my. I love that film.
The Coen brothers.
Who was that? Turturro?
Yeah. Who did it? Turturro was in it.
John Goodman.
John Goodman are just.
Oh yeah. John Goodman. I don't know.
He was great when he hosted the show.
John Goodman, speaking of Saturday Night Live, which is sort of the theme of our show, kind of. John Goodman could do anything, and he's one of those guys that read through with the 55 scripts. He's one of those incredible cold readers. That's a thing that's so difficult.
I don't know how people do that. I remember. And did you guys ever have people who were terrible at the table?
Yes.
You were like, this is going to be a bloodbath, and then we're just amazing. like they came in and they were like, oh, they're just not good cold readers, or they kind of save it.
Well,
or something happens when they're up in front of a live audience that it suddenly clicks and you're like, oh, get out of the way.
Yeah. I think there's a gradient scale. I mean, you could go to some mild dyslexia or whatever's going on, but some people can really, like Dennis Miller and Phil Hartman could look at a cue card and just grab it so fast.
Yeah.
And they never would stumble a little bit. But even good readers, it's such a task to not trip up a word, reverse a word.
I tripped over stuff constantly. I did my sixth show. I played Vincent Price.
Oh, yeah.
And Lauren,
one of my favorites,
came up to me. Lauren came up to me right before the band's playing, and I'm, my sixth show, and I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, Dana, you talked about it, like I would have a full blown panic attack before every show. I would go into that bathroom that was by the big makeup area.
There was a boys and girls.
Bathroom way at the end of the hall.
Yes.
Right after the meeting, before it was like, and Lauren would be like, this week, we're about to go on break, and people are going to say it was a good show or a bad show,
So it'd be really, really nice if it was like really good.
Really nice if you could say.
I love that about Lauren.
Yeah.
So when you panic attack in there, just for a second, so you go and you sit down, you're by yourself. Are you just hyperventilating?
Standing up.
Okay.
I go into a stall, standing up, and I would just hyperventilate. I'll be honest, cry a little bit.
Of course.
Shaking. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just have like a full. And then the thing was that Jenna, who was our stage manager when I was there, who's one of my favorite human beings on the planet, is great. But she had, I think, part of your job when you're that, you should be a little calm. Before air,
you'd think.
Be like 10 minutes to air.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it would get
5 minutes to air. Like her voice shaking, and I'm going, I'm gonna have a panic attack.
Yeah.
So I was in Vincent Price, and it was like the second sketch after monologue, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like about to pass out, and Lauren goes, "I like this, but why now?"
Very Lauren.
And then we did it. And if you watch the very first one, is Eva Longoria, I think, was the host. I stumble the first minute. I stumble over like every other line.
Wow.
I'm so like discombobulated, and wait, what did that mean? And what did I just say?
Well,
and,
also new cast is hard to get the cards down. It's not so simple. It takes a while.
How to look at it. Of course, you were the host in that, but do you think this is kind of like unhealthy what we did there? I mean, I ended up having a botched bypass a couple of years after. I mean, what was our blood pressure in our first few shows?
Yeah, no,
our
I have
hearts.
Like a weird autoimmune thing that affects the retina of my left eye, and I've gone to so many people about it. I've lost vision in this eye, like all this stuff, and everybody's like,
really?
I'm like, could stress have caused this? And they're like, well, yeah.
You weren't on Saturday Night Live, were you? You're like, yes.
Were you on Saturday Night Live?
Saturday Night Live?
How are you?
How many stents do you have?
David, did you have any sort of post-traumatic health issues, or did you have anything that...
It stunted my growth for sure. I'm 5'7".
Okay.
But I will tell you that before, you were just saying, when I was on the 8th floor, I would go by the elevators and take a left, and there's a bathroom back there. And I would just stand there and look at my script in the stall and just go, oh my God. And GE would come in and go out, and everyone would, he'd come with his full amp, and I'm like, not here.
He was the coolest.
No one knows how loud it is in that room when you're like doing the actual show and the band kicks in. You can't hear anything. It's crazy. So I would get really sick, and I think when I moved to New York, I was this fun kid from Arizona, and I was of course smashed down because I didn't have any nutrients. I didn't know what carbs were back then, so it was pizza, it was pasta. I didn't have a glass of water for 6 years. I didn't.
Same here.
It was Diet Coke, and then my hair got brown because I didn't know it could get brown, but it was dark all the time. Yeah, there's sun 10 minutes a day when it's like the buildings are straight up and the sun's directly at noon. And so I got like sort of gray, and I felt weak and sickly. I was like Powder, you know that movie Powder. So I'm sort of that guy, and then. I wasn't really, if I look at it now of how much I pay attention to eating and food and what goes in, and I did not at all then. And then add all the stress of like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be in show business. I can't barely make it here. And it's just so much every day. That's all you think about. It had to affect something. I mean, it's sort of my own doing, but it had to affect something.
The first church chat, I popped a tooth. Well, isn't that
really?
No, I made that up.
Really?
I made that up.
I would believe it.
I know, because I'm just thinking it's like.
Wasn't the first church chat your first show, and it became the cold open?
Yeah, it became the first sketch after Update. I was in a cold open with Phil and Jan, and I didn't even know I was in the cold open in essence. But then the church lady was the first, and there's church chat. People care, but her hand came up, his hand, my hand, that character's hand. Sorry, I have the dress in the closet, and it was drenched in sweat. It was pure, and yet to be that adrenalized, that blood pressure, heart pounding, and then pretend to be relaxed was such a difficult thing. But I want to go over some of your seminal, incredible sketches, but just quickly. The acclamation point for me, I believe in a way I was maybe the best I was on the show, like my last two shows. I mean, I think it took me 5 years to get to have fun, put it that way. Because I see the panic attacks, but when I saw, and I've said this to you and Fred Armisen, Batman and Robin, you guys, I always connected you too because of all the great stuff you did, is that I said, how did you guys seem to be having so much fun that last season? And you said, well, we knew it was our last season, so we kind of, in a good way, didn't give a fuck. And then you have fun, and then you're great. So that process did happen for you, right? At some point, you got calmer.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it was still nervous. I was still going to the that bathroom stall, but I wouldn't like have. It was more like what David's saying. You would have your script, and you would just kind of read through your stuff and just have a quiet moment by yourself, and then be like, all right, let me center myself. But then, Fred was so loose on the show. Mm-hmm. I never saw him get nervous. And so he a lot of times, and I'm also a very soft touch. Like I break constantly. So I think that was what he would bring to us.
He loved to break you.
Well, just also as a way of like
his commitment.
So amped up.
Yeah.
It was just he would just do little things. It was never big things.
Yeah.
Like he did a sketch he wrote called Short-Term Memory Theater.
Oh, I saw that.
And the whole thing is I'm the doctor who's worked with all these patients and we're going to run a play. And you'll see that none of these people forget their lines because they had short-term memory loss. But
you keep hammering it home that there's absolutely no way they will.
I hammer it home. It's like they will not. You mark my word, they will not miss a single line. And then 80 Bryant comes out, immediately goes up on her lines, and I have to cue her. And that's the bit is that I'm cueing everybody.
I just watched that. It's so fucking hilarious.
Fred, it's supposed to be in the 40s, like a like a Arthur Miller play or something. And Fred, to fuck with me, came in a present day New York Giants jacket.
I saw that. And
he goes,
and then I said, give me the jacket. And he said, is the play over?
Dude, I wrote down something from that because you go, because I just watched it and I was laughing, and Vince Vaughn is in it too, right? Vince Vaughn. Yeah. And you go, you go, it has my keys in it. You go, Jana has everyone's keys. Because they're all obviously they can't be without their shit. I thought it was so funny. And then I watched 5 years in a row that were home runs. And this is, I kept going, you have to laugh in this one. When you were doing the one where you're fucking screaming as a fireman, I was like, I didn't know where it was going. And you start going crazy. I go, there's no way. You kept saying, what? And you,
that was John Solomon and Rob Klein wrote that one. And I don't know where it came from. It was just one of those great things where you come to the table and
it's a fucking home run.
And they're like, yeah, we went nuts last night. You're this like very effeminate firefighter that's mad that your girlfriend's there with
Adam Levine. By the way,
Adam Levine, and Jim Downey was there, and Jim Downey was laughing really hard
for sure
when he was losing his mind during that sketch. And then we came into a dress rehearsal, and then we came into the meeting before air, and they had all the cards up, and Downey started crying, laughing, and I was like, "Why is Downey laughing?"
That's interesting.
And he goes, the name of that sketch is the firehouse incident.
That's the funniest part for him.
And he goes, it's so needlessly mysterious.
That Jim does have that capacity to identify exactly why it's funny.
He was like, he goes, it's needlessly mysterious.
Yeah.
And that we were just, so that's my memory of doing that show, was being in the meeting just crying.
Oh, to make Downey laugh is big. Also, I thought it was when everyone plays it straight. Adam Levine, I'll give it to him too. When everyone plays it straight, it's so hilarious, and it's asking a lot of everyone to A, not laugh, and B, just play it straight. And then I think Cicely or someone comes over and goes out of nowhere, "Hey, I guess they just canceled the B in apartment C," and you go, "What? The B in C?
Not the B.
Not the B in C? Oh my God."
I think I grab a dog and I yell, "Open a window," and they all say no.
You fit attacks you,
and then the dog attacks me. Yeah.
And we're not.
That was one of those ones where it's just like a gift that the writers were like, I don't know what happened, but they wrote another one with me where I was like this guy in the guy in a puppet class. I was like,
traumatized.
Shit. Anthony Coleman.
Yeah.
And that was another one where you go to the table and there's like a sock puppet on your pile of scripts with a little note on it, like,
nice,
puppet class, could you use this please, John and Rob?
Hysterical.
And you're like figuring it out as you go along. Those guys, my last season, because Mulaney had left, and John Solomon and Rob Klein really wrote some great stuff for me. That last season,
those two right there are like. By the way, I was wondering during puppet class how. It must be a little hard to get your lines, get the puppet, get them to kiss, get around and try to kiss and everything you had to do was like two things going on at once and make sure the camera's on your face and then the puppet's face. They had to do that. So those can be complicated and then it comes off without a hitch.
Yeah, that one, the most difficult thing, everybody was like, oh, is it making the puppet smoke? And that was, those things where like they cut to someone else and then you have... Was Flanagan there with you guys? The guy who made shit? That guy Flanagan? No. Anyway, Flanagan was the guy who made the puppet. He would be there, and then they're hooking shit up to you real fast.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Jesus, this is the, and then, what they don't see is the guys are all like on the floor, right at, your feet.
Right. Yeah.
It's complicated.
It was one of those things where the smoke came out. You're like, oh, thank God that fucking works. Cause
doesn't work all during the week.
And they're doing like that. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, please.
We had barf ones where they put the barf in a tube up your arm, and then I think it was Fred Wolf wrote one where maybe it was Alec Baldwin, and every cop that walks up to a scene and goes, God damn, and then they go, and everyone starts barfing.
They would come out before you could get it.
And it's even funnier, but if it doesn't come out, it sucks. And there's a guy pumping next to him going, give him more gas, Joe, and you're like, we're live.
We can't
give him more gas.
Yeah,
I had a host once, right? I had a puppet. It was a different sketch, but I had a puppet that was supposed to throw up on a host, and the host was angry about it. The host didn't like that. Between dress and air and the meeting, they were like, "Oh, and hey, can we do something about that puppet?" And the host sounds off, and everybody's like, "Excuse me."
Oh no!
The host sounded off. Well, the writer who wrote that, I was like, second year cast member. So I was like, oh, geez. Yeah, sure. Sorry. But the guy I wrote it with, it was his last show. So he was just quiet.
Did he go, hey, fuck you, we're doing it?
So we go over and we're doing the sketch. And I see him talking to the special effects guys. And the guys are pumping the water thing. And it was like, when you have like a pellet gun. And
the last couple.
Just getting hard. Yeah.
I hear them going. So we're doing the sketch and I go to pick this thing up. And I pick up the puppet and it's vibrating.
It's so full, ready to go.
Explode. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And on air, this stuff, it was like a fire hose. Just like, hit this guy right in the face. I was like,
And he's expecting nothing now instead of a little bit.
Expecting like a water fountain.
Yeah.
We actually said, I want it like a drinking fountain, like a little.
Right. And it just waylays him.
It hit so hard that the puppet flew off the thing. And so it's just the nozzle of the.
On the air show?
Yeah. It was like,
I have to give you, like, speaking of all that kind of stuff, because it's hard sometimes to get all this shit on you when you're during a show. So you got a wig. But you did one with. Like a Hollywood type of show with Scarlett Johansson and Kristen Wiig. And Scarlett Johansson, first of all, is an unsung hero. She's kind of a sleeper because every sketch I see her in, she's great in.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's really committed. And
she kills it. And then that one was just a funny one where you two were acting like idiots. And it was just another surprising sketch.
Yeah, it's Hollywood Dish. Yeah, it was the thing of you guys have done it where people interview you. And then while you're talking, they can't talk.
Yeah.
They're going.
Right. And you explain that you can't overlap.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, so I was, and it's like.
Making faces.
And they're mouthing words and stuff. And so Kristen and I think, had done press for something and we were doing that the whole time. And then it was like, oh, we should probably write that.
Right. And you also had some different moves in it, though. So it wasn't like just that. It started to change up.
You know what? The one you saw probably, I don't know if it was that one because we did that one a couple of times. I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen where at dress, there was a thing where I'm drinking a Slurpee and someone says something shocking. And I go, and I like throw the Slurpee full giant big gulp right into Wig's face.
Yeah.
And she just has tons of Slurpee over it. And then I throw a thing on her head. So we did it at dress. Perfect.
Of course.
On air. Fully miss her. It goes in front of her. Doesn't hit her at all.
Oh my God.
And the only sound, and doesn't get a laugh because everybody was like, oh, something went wrong. And I can hear Lauren. It's so bad when you're at home base and I can hear Lauren under the bleachers going, oh, shit.
Oh, terrible. And didn't Kristen break? Did she break on that sketch?
No, I don't.
Didn't.
Oh, no,
there's another one maybe.
What you see now is dress. Like, so he was like,
okay.
So when I got done, he was like, West Coast will see dress. And I was like, oh, good. Okay, good.
Well, you did a spit take in her fucking grill too, which was hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You realize those are all the things that work, I get to SNL and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have these really cerebral, weird things. And it's like, no, what works is spitting into someone's face.
funny with the sound off. Never fails.
Funny with the sound off is perfect. Exactly.
What about Herb Welch?
Oh, that was based on that was John Mulaney and I wrote that. That was based on
a guy we all kind of know in a way. The guy who should have retired a long time ago. The video, out
he's
in
on
the field.
It was like a YouTube video where the guys, they got an argument on air, and the guy was like, what'd you say? That one was also from the combination of that, and then I was having to play. I always got cast as like reporters or game show hosts.
Why is that funny?
Like Phil Hartman was our guy doing that,
I was always the guy that was like, we need a setup, so they'll put me in going like, I'm here now at this school, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we were rehearsing with Emma Stone and for that sketch, and I had a microphone and I was just like hitting people with
hitting her in the face.
I was hitting her and I was hitting a wig and just fucking around with it. And then again, I go, oh, that's fun. And Mulaney was like, we should maybe write that up.
Oh yeah.
That could be like, he was the guy that would go, what if we did that as a sketch? And I was like, oh, is that what we do here?
Okay.
Yeah. Emma, again, good in that. And, everyone was good. And then you go over, but did you only do that once or did you do that a bunch of times?
We did it a couple of times.
So funny.
We did it with,
I saw Emma,
I think. And then when I hosted the first time, I did it.
Oh, so you've done it too much, actually.
It has an improvisational vibe to it.
You know what the funny thing about Herb Welch was? This gave me a really interesting insight into TV critics. Was there was someone who would write, because when I was there at the after party, everybody's on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
what people are writing about the show.
Wow, we did not have that.
Yeah. So we would everybody is at their table going, so-and-so at this site hates it. So-and-so.
Oh, that fast. Wow.
7 out of 10 on the AV Club.
Couchpotato.com.
And you're just like, oh my God. And there was one guy who would do a scorecard every show. Everybody would read the scorecard. And he, at the end of the season, did his year roundup, and he was like, favorite sketch, least favorite sketch. And his least favorite character was Herb Welch.
No, he doesn't know shit.
What an idiot.
This is terrible. It's racist and misogynistic and terrible. And I'm like, well, he's like an ancient asshole. I don't think it's pro that.
Yeah.
The sketch isn't pro him. But
it's a grumpy old man.
Grumpy old man. But then then a year later, I was doing press for something, and they brought a guy in, and it was the guy that wrote this. So I'm talking about another thing with him. And then as he leaves, he goes, hey, can I tell you what character of yours I really love? I love Herb Welch.
What?
And I go, all right.
Wait a minute.
On the table, man. I got to be honest. You said he was the worst character in the, that year or whatever. And he goes, yeah, a guy I work with read that and was like kind of bummed out. And he goes, no, you should check it out. You really watch it. And I watched it again. I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
Oh, that
so we're
just shows.
suffering.
That kind of gave me I was like, oh, this is how it is with this show. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that day, that at that moment, the guy hated it. And now a year later, he's like, oh, it was really nice. And then the opposite will happen, where the thing they love, then you run into them. They're like, actually, I watched that again. It doesn't age well, or whatever.
Well, isn't it fun? Because I saw it this morning too, just seeing it again, which I love when I saw it. First of all, it's low energy in a way, like it's the opposite of the Firehouse incident. Yeah, it's getting huge laughs. So then you have the task of, I don't know if you could do it now, but Kristen Wiig is trans or something, and then Herb goes with the mic over her body.
Yeah.
Oh, over.
That, like, was that choreographed? Like, I'll do bump, 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 because the crowd's going crazy. Are you going a little bit more on the air show? Because
I think probably a little bit more. I started laughing because when I hit her in the crotch, Wig made a sound.
Right.
That she did a little sound, and I started laughing.
So you looked away a couple times.
I looked away because she went, like that.
And so instead of breaking in front of the crowd, you just looked away and came back at work
for a second because she was. But yeah, you're right. We probably you couldn't do that now.
Well,
a lot of those.
A lot of those stuff.
I had Ching Change, in 1988.
There's stuff Downey wrote for us that. No, even at the time, I was like,
couldn't do it.
Jesus Christ, I don't know about this. All right.
I like when Downey goes, there's just something in the.
Like there's something very funny about.
It's very precious. It's a little too precious.
There's just something very funny about.
See, when you say this line, you want to go up. And then when you go this one, now he's kind of this thing. It's like we act it out with you and get.
It's that whole thing. It's just more the idea. Yeah, I know.
He was good with rhythms.
I mean, I really like Downey, but he would really go. It was,
he goes some places.
He was always goading me on Hollywood Minute to go harder. He goes, "You're a pussy. You're a pussy. You're not doing this. Don't act like you're doing it." And I go, "I'll do it." And he goes, "No, you won't. Don't even talk about it." And I'd sit there and go, "First of all, you're the guy that's going to fire me." Because
exactly. And it's like, you don't have to go out there and
he's my boss, and then he wants me to do it, but he'd be like, hey, bad news, I have to fire you over that joke. He's the one. But I would say, Dana, I'm just jumping around, but when you said, Bill, that you were good the last year, when you were telling everyone you were really good on the show the last year, earlier.
Last 2, 3, whatever.
No,
whenever
I'm joking, but you got more relaxed, and I think the idea of that, I wanted to jump in from 10 minutes ago, is that I think you guys are in the same spot. Maybe not as much Dana or Bill, but I never knew if I was coming back, and every summer he'd say, I don't know if he's right for the show, but, we don't know if we're going to bring him back. To me, about me. And then they would at the last minute. And so you can't relax in that situation. And that's fair. It's a business. He doesn't know. And if he wants to cut me like a baseball team, he doesn't want to have a long-term deal. So I'm, going check to check going, if I don't get on for 3 shows or don't score, this is it. It's curtains. And so maybe you or possibly in that same position where it's your last year, you don't really care because there's no high stakes anymore. You're going anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I will also say, and you guys had this, I mean, you did Tommy Boy and Dana, what you were doing.
Wayne's World.
Were you still on Wayne's? You were still
I was on the show, Wayne's World.
And Wayne's World came out.
Yeah.
Those were huge. I mean, did that give you guys a bit of confidence? Like, Tommy Boy came out where you were like, because I did Hot Rod after my first, and I was like, well, I was in a movie.
Yeah.
They won't cut me.
Andy Samborg.
I feel like there's some stock in me. Even if the movie didn't do well, they put me in a movie, I guess.
Yeah.
But, I was really naive too,
Yeah. I know what you're saying. And I sort of did. I think it was right in the Hollywood. It was probably 3 years. I was on 6. After 3, when I got to 4, I think I'm going to push this through. Now, I was held as a feature player longer than Schneider, Rock, and Farley and Sandler. So I had an extra year. So I'm like, maybe it's just not for me. I mean, I'm not a big character guy. So I sort of saw what they saw and I go, I can score maybe here and there, but I'm not a full utility player like they need here.
That's so funny you say that, because I was watching, massive fan during those years, and it seemed like you were very much.
I have Kiki.
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah. Hey Sarge, what are you doing here?
Hey Sarge, what are you?
Here's my new one, Daniel Day-Lewis.
I love that so much.
From There Will Be Blood. This is my son and partner HW. That's pretty good, Dana.
I have a competition problem.
I have a competition
it's not that others can fail, as I should win. You did that.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, drink your milkshake. I love that. Daniel Playview as a sketch. Can you give us? You want to go into it for a second?
I'm an oil man.
I'm an oil man.
I'm an oil man. That was like the thing that you would just repeat to get into it.
Yeah.
So like all day, I was going, I'm an oil man.
Yeah.
I'm an oil man.
That's perfect.
Up on. That was the other thing that drove me nuts. The writers. It was like
nuts.
It's like, this is down in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's like I'm doing a voice, so I'm working on saying Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then for some reason they change it to Kenosha.
Right before air or something.
Right before air, and I go,
Kenosha.
Why'd you guys change it to Kenosha? And it was like, oh, we just liked Kenosha. And I was like, I'm doing a voice.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in. It's
County.
not a thing I can kind of it's not malleable in a way where I can just start riffing in it, Or it's like, I don't know if you ever had shit like that where you were like,
of course.
It was like all these weird lateral moves at the last minute that would throw you. And then they're like, you blew it.
Just do one phrase and repeat it. That's the key. I never.
That's me in the bathroom before the sketch. You just go in there and you go, have I prepped enough? You're like, it's coming up. Have I been fucking around? Are we at Wally and Joseph's? Are we bullshitting in the writer's room? Like, I got to go lock in and go, okay, I'm going out there. I don't want to go. Sometimes I'm out there. Even in stand-up, sometimes you're in the middle of your show. You go, fuck, I was in a groove because I've done so many shows this week, but I didn't go over it right before I went on and just think like, okay, what am I going to walk out of? You just got to,
It's fear of like being on national television going, wait, what?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, really? Seriously?
Exactly.
I don't even know what I'm reading. Did you do cold openings? I mean, because I had a lot of those right to the camera.
I did one cold opening.
Those are the worst, pressure-wise.
I hated the cold open. I did one that Downey wrote where I was Spitzer.
Elliot Spitzer.
Governor Spitzer, and it was me talking for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just after that was done, I went and just was like, I don't think I can do that again. That was like, I was terrified.
Is it there not that many laugh lines in it, or was just too much dialogue?
It's just like, I love Jim so much, but it's dry, it's you're starting off the show doing like this dry thing that gets laughs.
They're ready to laugh.
they are pumped and excited, and the band's playing, and it's like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. And then you come out with this thing that, the first 4 minutes of it is kind of like set up.
And here's a dry bit. Go.
Yes, and but it worked. It's, by the way, really funny. But for my anxiety, it was like the first 4 minutes of this is like, actually has no jokes in it. It's just being here's the facts.
That's tough.
Yeah. But you had to do that shit all the time, Dana. I feel like
well, first of all, I just want it for SNL listeners. The cold open is when the studio is just getting ready to do the show. Someone screams out 10 seconds, 5 seconds.
Joe Dixon.
And then the studio, the rest of the show, there's ambient noise of them moving stuff around while the sketches. It's the only one where the whole studio goes dead quiet.
True.
If this doesn't go well, the show has to dig out from under it.
Yes. Yes.
So it's the pressure spot. I had a lot of props, and I just started waving my arms a lot. Got a dang, gabbity bat. I was just to survive.
Well, you had to. You got to get it going.
That has like an energy to it.
Yeah, it had high energy.
Makes everyone have
fun. Yeah.
And then by the time you were doing Bush and stuff, the minute it would come on, we were always like, but it was like a big character. But it was when it was a thing, like a topical thing.
Yes, and Elliot Spitzer was not as it was only a big story for a week, and no one knew what he talked like.
It was, I think after that I was in cold opens, but it was like we now bring you to Congress hearing of.
Yeah.
There was one time I had to go into the booth because I recorded a thing for the pre-tape. The scroll like. This week in Alabama, blah, 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 whatever current thing happened. And they ran to me and they go, the tape's not working. You got to go do it live. So I ran into the booth, put my headphones on, and it's just everyone yelling and screaming. Is he in the booth? Is he in the booth? And I'm like, I'm here right now. It's like, all right, and go. And now we're live.
Oh, that Don Pardo booth over there?
Yeah. And there's no scroll. So I just have the script and I'm reading over black because something went wrong. So I'm reading over black. I'm trying to remember what I did. I did it Thursday.
Wow.
Saturday. And I'm going, okay, I do the whole thing. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And the sketch starts and I go to sit down. Pardo's in there. I sat on Pardo.
Don Pardo?
And Pardo goes, get off of me.
Get off of me, Bill Hader.
The great Don Pardo. Get off my foot.
So the whole time I was doing that, he was just sitting on the thing in that small booth, and I didn't see him because I was so freaked out. And then I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God, Don, I'm sorry.
It's like he's on the toilet and you sit on him. You're
That's
like,
hysterical.
Rob Schneider.
Jim Belushi.
Jim
Melanie Hudson.
He goes, Jim Belushi.
You've heard that, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Someone underlined Jim.
Oh, no.
Jim Belushi.
As a dick move to Jim Belushi.
We can't do everything about you, but we should we talk about Barry or your... I think my wife did not realize that you went into Second City and was discovered in a backyard doing improv. So that might be interesting for a second. But your trajectory to SNL was sort of interesting in that way. And then your story on SNL became fascinating because you are a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Put it this way, Bill. This is what I say to people. If someone said to me Bill Hader was the greatest of all time sketch player on SNL, I wouldn't slug them in the face.
That's really sweet.
You'd have to think.
That seems like coming from you guys. Yeah.
You had a great cast, though, too. You were surrounded by solid shit.
Kristen Wiig, Andy Samberg, Jace, Will Forte, Fred Armisen, Amy Poehler, Seth Meyers, Daryl Hammond, Jason Sudeikis are your bandmates. I mean,
Maya Rudolph was there.
Maya Rudolph overlapped.
Crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, I was Kenan Thompson. Kenan Thompson's actually the guy that I would sit. He would do those "What Up With That" sketches, and I was so anxious on air, and I would sit and watch him do those because I had no lines in those sketches, and I would just sit there and think like, I just need to get to be like that. How can I get that loose and have that much fun on air. Look how much fun he is having.
He doesn't seem stressed. Yeah.
I agree. I don't think I ever got there. He's like behind. His joy is just right behind his eyes, and sort of in his mouth. You just feel it.
He was the guy that when people talk about, I was like, Kenan Thompson was the guy he would do Update. I would go out on the floor to watch him do Update because I was just like, he's just such a
Bill.
He's such a. It's Kenan.
Do you have to take that?
Kenan going like, what are you saying about me? No, but he was just one of those guys that when I was always kind of knocked out by how loose he was and how much fun he had. And we would be in sketches together. Yeah. And I was like, God, he can just knock this out. It was kind of like what you were saying earlier. Like, you throw anything at him. He never seemed thrown. He was just a pro and lovely all the time. He's one of those guys, he could be bullshitting with you about something totally innocuous, and then you go on live television and he destroys it, and then comes back and he picks the conversation back up.
I loved him.
I'm like, you know.
Yeah, you got to get ready. Did you guys ever hear that you guys weren't that good? Because obviously now you look back and it's always different eyes.
Pretty all-star.
I want to say the Washington Post or something wrote a review my first season that was like, who the fuck, like me and Sudeikis and Forte were interchangeable.
Who do you think you are?
This is terrible. And living in New York too, people would just, I remember a guy on a cab driver went, "Hey, SNL, you fucking suck."
Everybody has the cab drivers.
Or like, you go into a deli and the guys are like, "They don't use you. Why don't they use you? They don't use you anymore."
They haven't even watched for 2 years.
Yeah, everyone wants to get you bitter. Your relatives, everybody. They don't use you enough.
I get a guys go, "Hey, got any movies coming out?" It's like the dumbest, easiest question. I go, no. I go, "They did that wrong, Missy." I didn't see that one. Anything else? I go, "Well, it takes a year to shoot it. It takes a year to come out. It takes a year to get another one." And I'm like, "So you missed this? You're 5 years behind." He's like, "Yeah, what else?" He actually said,
the guy works at a deli. What else you got?
"Where's Chris Pratt been? You never see him anymore." I go, "He was in Jurassic World and the raccoon one." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I didn't see those." I go, "Well, why am I going by you? Who the fuck? What? You're giving Chris... If he's not doing well, no one is. My God."
Yeah, I didn't see Coda. Tell me about Coda,
Is that the deaf one? Is this Chris Pratt in that? See, he's not in shit.
Does he play Coda?
I saw you on Saturday Night Live. I thought you were a woman. I saw that woman character guy thing you did. I thought you were a woman.
But the one I always got was, "Why don't they use you?"
I know. Why don't they use you? Because when I'm in a wig, you don't know it's me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, is that show live? Do you really tape that live?
When do you guys shoot that? And then for a while, it was like, "What's Kristen Wiig's situation?"
What's her situation?
She a nice person.
What's his situation?
She's stuck up.
Hey, what's up with Dale Hammond?
Wow. Is he stuck up?
You think he'd be my friend?
He looks like a friendly guy.
I fancy myself on that show once in a while. I do a characters with my friends.
Anyway,
right,
what do you want from the deli?
Improv. Good luck with that. All right.
All right. Let's wrap it up with Bill.
Let's talk about Barry.
Barry, really quick. No, I'm kidding.
We don't need to talk about it.
Barry, everyone loves it. 30. It's an unbelievable show. It really is. It's shocking. I mean, you're this sketch player. You're so brilliant at it. You do the voice. You do Cloudy with Meatballs. This and that. And then I hear you're going to do this. I'm like, what'll that be like? I was like one of those guys. What are you going all drama for? You're fucking funny. But then the show is brilliant, and you're brilliant in it. And the first show of the first season where your character comes in and watches the acting class, and you're not saying anything, just in that moment. It was like the show just completely hooked me right there.
Yeah.
And of course, because I like people like your cast, Stephen Root. I mean...
Yeah.
So fucking great. Sarah Goldberg, Anthony Kerrigan is amazing.
Yeah, Anthony Kerrigan is NoHo Hank. That's what.
NoHo Hank.
I really love. Yeah.
And of course, Henry Winkler is so brilliant. So
Hank
congratulations, Hank Winker.
Nice.
There's Hank Winkler. I'll say I haven't. The nicest guy in the world. I'm at the Improv in 1981. I think a mediocre set. I go outside in the bar. I've not been on TV or anything. I just hear a voice behind me going, Stella. It was a stellar performance, and it's Henry Winkler.
Smooth as silk. You landed all your jokes.
Oh, he's so fucking nice. And that was Fonzie talking to you. You must have shit your pants, Dana.
Yeah, it was Henry Winkler. It was a big deal for him to give me that at that moment in my life.
Was Pinky Tuscadero there? Be honest.
Pinky,
sorry, that's from Happy Days.
Friedman was take it outside.
Hello,
take
David.
It outside.
Not in the halls. Not in the
hall. Take it outside. So what do you? So this Barry thing. What do you want to say about Barry?
Yeah,
season 3.
3 words or less.
Make your publicist happy. I'm just talking like a New York guy
Barry?
now.
When is that third season?
24th.
Okay.
So April 24th. I think today the trailer, the official trailer came out. So
today, this comes out in 2 years.
Okay.
Bill, is this the one where you direct all of them?
No, I directed 5 of them, and so I really love directing. That's like I love doing that. It's so much fun. But it's this weird thing where people are like, "Oh, how do you act and direct?" But you kind of write a character that doesn't talk a lot.
So I have to worry about that.
Lines. And then when I get the lines, I forget them. Yeah.
It's hard to do it all. I can't even fucking act. I can't do anything.
Actually, being on SNL was, who was actually Chris Rock was the guy I was talking to. I was like, yeah, I want to direct at some point. And I asked him because he directed, and he goes, if you could do SNL, you can direct because you have to.
You sort of direct your sketches, right?
You saw your sketches.
Yeah.
So when we did the pilot for Barry, me talking to, heads of departments and
props
and all these things, I kind of knew I had confidence in what I wanted and stuff, but that was totally from SNL, from doing that.
It's hard when they go, what kind of drapes do you want? You're like, these or these? Yeah, and you go, I'm just worried about the jokes. Yeah, you're good at going, that one.
This one.
You got to make 100 of those a day.
Yeah, all day. And then they go, well, the ones you pick now don't work. And it's like, okay, well, which ones do work? Oh, that's great. Love it. Whatever. Yeah. But I think having that confidence, and I think the thing that SNL did, I don't know what you guys feel about, but it took that like romanticism out of like creating, and it was just like, we had to do a show on Saturday. So it was kind of like, there was no, I have to go look out a window and write in my notebook
character
and think about my thing. It's like, no, we're like under a table up on the 17th floor eating pizza, like scribbling real quick, or reading shit in the bathroom going, fuck, okay, I got to go do this on national television in 5 minutes,
So everything seems downhill after that.
Exactly. It's easy after that. Yeah.
Bill, I have a director question. Sometimes, because I've never directed anything, and I wonder when the director yells action. There's some sets I've been on where the first AD yells action, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think to be a director, the only thing you want to do is yell action. That's the whole fun thing.
I totally get that, and I've been on those sets too. I actually have like my first AD. Sometimes you have first ADs, and they're kind of like, you work well together, but you're not partners. I have this guy, Gavin Kleintop, who is like my partner in the thing. He's amazing. He's also a big film geek. So like that episode you were talking about, Dana, where you don't see the guy, I can explain to him the Karate Girl episode and go, this is a coverage I'm thinking. He goes, I totally get it, and I'll figure out how to make that work. So he says it, he does say it, but also I'm in scenes, and there is a thing when you're working with people and you're in a scene together. A thing that I've been doing that all the actors are like, can you please stop doing it? Is because I'm writing the stuff too, is I'm mouthing the word.
Yeah.
Can I tell you who else did that? Johnny Carson.
Really?
When I was first out in this thing, because you do the prep interview, And so I would see his mouth moving along. I'm going, isn't that special? And Johnny's going, it's so special. Yeah, same thing. So
wow.
How did you get rid of that, or that would make it so?
Henry was very sweet. Like, Bill, you're doing a great job, but it throws me a little bit when you're mouthing along with me, especially in some of these more intense scenes.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. So it is like, Conan does that a little bit. When I remember being on Conan a couple times where
Conan will do it again. Yeah, I didn't want to say Conan because he's a good friend.
No, but I'm saying as someone who does it,
But listen, when you look at that old, not to bring it back, that one Gap girls lay off me, I'm starving. I'm so scared it won't do well and it won't do as good as Dress. I am mouthing along.
Really?
And I haven't really heard someone say that before, but now that you're saying it, I go, you can see it in the sketch. I'm like,
because you're so in.
I want him to nail it so perfectly, and I'm like, fuck.
Nail this, and please make sure this works. And I think everybody kind of thinks like we're just having fun up there, but it's like there's so much pressure.
But I didn't know I was doing it, and probably you didn't know.
I had no idea I was doing it, and I've had Stephen Root and Henry Winkler both said,
everyone from the
with us.
Call sheet.
please stop mouthing along with us. And I'm like, I am so sorry, but you're just so locked into, what's happening.
Do you like one hallmark of a show that's really working is that there's no weakness. Like every actor on Barry seems like that's the person that had to play that part, and they're so good. So you psychologically and with all your experience, do you change your directing style depending on who you're talking to in terms of like that little note right before you go, trying to give them confidence?
I mean, like Stephen Root and Sarah Goldberg are theater people, very theater trained, and so you don't. They come in pretty prepared. Sarah especially, like she is super prepared. So it's like gentle, like, oh, maybe have like a little private moment in the middle of this, or maybe try this. But and then Henry is kind of free flowing, kind of So
emotional,
and so he's kind of he needs more. Like we did a scene this season where he has to enter it really angry. And so he was like, I could see him being angry and stuff. And so he was taking a broom and throwing it on the ground. And I was like, oh, good. Can make sure props has a broom there for him. We'll never see it, but he needs something to just kind of go smash something and then enter the scene, And,
okay.
And, it's stuff like that,
Yeah.
And then a lot of it is you try to stay out of their way, but then I do in that way of like, because I'm also acting in it, it's a thing I've had to try to rein in, is I can't help but be like, and this is also at SNL, I had no problem if it was a sketch I was like, it's more like we were saying about Downey, it's more like that the rhythm is this,
yeah.
Actors don't like that.
No.
That's a fine line.
Do you know what I'm saying? Where at SNL, I don't know about you guys, but I had no problem going to Andy or somebody and going like, it's
Oh yeah, and people would ask for it. If you were the writer of the sketch, I would ask like, "Well, what are you thinking here?" What do you?
We did the K-Sims, which is one of the that's the hardest. That's John Mulaney's favorite sketch we ever wrote. It died at Dress, but the whole thing is rhythm.
Like the whole thing is rhythm. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else to it but rhythm. So,
Casey Kasem, father, son.
But then you did it at Largo.
Ne'er-do-well son.
Yeah, we did it at Largo with you. Yeah, you were there. Yeah.
We if the audience doesn't hook the premise, and sometimes at SNL it just gets lost that first 30 seconds. What is going on here? And then it but it was a quiet sketch and very dry. But at Largo, we really set it up.
Yeah.
We had them on our side.
We were surprised. The point, that thing on Barry is like, you can't go, hey, the rhythm is this.
Yeah.
People will go, please don't tell me how to.
Some people literally go, give me a line reading. Yeah,
sometimes that'll happen. Not so much on Barry, but sometimes Henry will be like, just tell me how you want me to say it. But everybody's a little different, and mostly I just know, you guys know from acting and things, the biggest thing I think is actors just don't they don't want to look like idiots. They don't want to look foolish. They want to make sure and they want confidence. Like I've never understood.
That's it.
I've worked with directors that their whole thing is kind of browbeating you. Thing,
weird,
and you never
right?
understand it. And so to me, it's just like, but at the same time, smart actors can kind of sniff out if everything's great. That's not good either.
Yeah.
Where it's like, beautiful. I love it. People.
Yeah, Fred Wolf would always go, "Oh, that's great. That's really great. Really great. Oh, that's just incredible." You might want to just try this one thing, which I appreciate that about him. I was never in a movie with him like David, but I think that that is the challenge of being a director. I had a director would give me 10 notes between takes, 10, and it was just like it turned into nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
More energy, less energy.
Yeah, or people being like, very precious about the words, I could see sometimes if an actor's like, struggling with a line, you can go, just say it and how you would say it. But here's the information that we want to get across is this,
Right. I've been locked into lines. They get really mad if you change one word.
What's that?
One word. Were you doing it? And they change, if you change one word because it sounds more real, and they go, no, we got to do the whole thing over. And you go, what happened? You go, you flip these two and you go, it's the same exact thought. I get it's your writing, but.
No, I had that once on a show or a movie where the writer was directing and came over and was like, there's a comma there for a reason. And I was like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not that good.
Yeah. Trying to spice it up.
I'm trying to give it, but as long as the general thing is there, I'm not that stoked on if we can find something better. Yeah, Sarah Goldberg and Anthony Kerrigan especially are two people who can come in and will come up with lines, or say Anthony will just improvise it. But Sarah was like, hey, I was working on it and I was thinking maybe I could say this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh yeah, try that,
That's perfect. Yeah. So it's not over rehearsed and they can just do it.
Just try stuff in a way. And then, I've done this too, though, where you improvise a thing and it's like, now we're getting way off course.
Yeah.
The story is this, you guys are going over here. Can we, so it's like it's like a nice balance, I think, of that, with people. But I do think when you're acting with people, it's hard because their scene partners telling them what to do, so I'm always very conscious of that, when.
Yeah. I wonder, have you done a Woody Allen movie? I guess no one does it anymore, but he's sorry to be facetious. Because
a large talent.
Andre Previn.
John Cusack told me once, he goes, you sounds like you're acting, so you should try to make it seem like you're not like just acting, because it's
that was a note.
Yeah, but it's maybe the writer, which would be me. No, you're a wonderful actor.
You're a beautiful, intelligent woman.
Boy. Yeah. You're a beautiful, intelligent boy.
But talk about a writer-director. So it looks like, if I had to guess, you'll do whatever seasons of Barry, and then you'll be out on the reservation being a film director, which you dreamed of at age 10.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but it's fun, it's a weird circuitous road to the thing that you always wanted to do, but it's fun.
How fun that you get to do a show and you get to be in it, and what a blast.
And so it represents your sensibility, what you want. You're working with like-minded people, your partner, Alex.
And it's dark, and this season especially is incredibly, brutal at times, but I don't know. It's nice to kind of have that in it, and it just feels right. Again, it's that instinctive thing. It's like we're talking about death and people getting murdered and stuff.
Yeah. I wondered about that watching season 1 and season 2, the darkness and the lightness and the comedy beats, right on the edge. You must have been thinking about that as you go along. How funny can this be before it takes us away from the story? Always threading the needle with that, but doing it beautifully. It's working, Yeah,
this season was definitely like, oh, let's push that maybe a little bit when you're trying to be honest with what the material is.
Just go at that.
But sometimes I wonder if it's just getting older. You see friends getting older, people are dying.
You want to go darker.
Like, I gotta start to be.
Yeah.
Life happens, and it's like, if I'm gonna do this, we should be kind of honest about it. Where I feel if I did the show in my 20s, it'd be a little bit more glib.
Right. Yeah. It's an inevitable trajectory as life beats you up. Bad shit really happens on this planet and to everybody.
Yeah, this stinks.
Wow.
This
wow.
Stinks.
Well,
I don't like
anyway,
this.
we're finished with part one.
Bill,
we're going to take a short break. Our guest today is Bill Hader.
Bill's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Bill,
I had
Bill, do you have anything more you want to say? Because we loved having you. I had a great time.
Oh, man, it's like awesome being here. And yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm being genuine. It's very cool getting to talk to you guys. I'm still, it's just awesome.
I'm up on the ladder from you. I'm up. David's a half step down from me, and you're the other way down. So, thank you. I'm an elder at this point, which is great. But look how fit I am. I mean, it's amazing. My energy. I look startling.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know you can't see it, listeners. No, I feel good. I'm working on a scripted podcast with my sons, which is so much fun. It's like making a movie. Very difficult. Just all voice acting and effects, but I'm having a blast doing that. It's called The Weird Place. David, a little plug before we go. This will be our biggest episode.
Oh, yeah. Go on the road and watch me at davidspade.com. No, I'm kidding.
Dana, wait, do you know that your impression of your sons is the Californian's voice?
I was flattered that Fred Armisen told me that. I thought it could. I mean, I feel that voice was in the ether. But it was pretty much all we're going to do today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you impersonating your son.
Yeah.
And the first time they did that sketch, he was doing a different voice.
Oh, okay. Oh, and then he switched it out. Oh.
And then at dress, he came out and went, wait a minute. And we all were like, if you see it, I think it's online. Kristen and I are going, funny. What is he doing? That's what. And we both lose it.
That's what that sketch, when it first hit me, that you were all going to do that voice and then talk about how to drive around L.A., that has hit me like a ton of bricks. It was so fucking, I'm going to take Fountain and I'm going to go.
Well, it was a bit we did when we would come back from L.A. and you would be at the table waiting for Lauren to show up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then everybody would go, hey, I just went to LA. And it's like, and then someone would go, how'd you get there? And it's like, well, I took 4 or 5 down to the.
But to do with those voices, no, I'm going to take 405.
No, but that's your impression of your son is the voice we're doing.
All right, I'll take that. All right, thanks.
All right, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
I'll see you at the reunion at SCC.
Hopefully we'll run into each other and look forward to the 3rd season of Barry.
Yeah, you too,
all right,
guys. Thanks so
much.
Take
well.
Yeah.
Peace out.
See you, buddy. Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. Dana, we've got a question from
our fans?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
fans. They get to ask us. They get right to us.
Okay.
Oleg P. Oleg says, hola. No, Oleg says, hello, Dana and David. Dana first for some reason. And who is the funniest non-comedian you've ever worked with?
Anthony Hopkins.
Okay.
I did a movie with him. And
what movie?
It's called Road to Wellville.
Oh, did you? Someone else was in
it,
that.
So it's probably not. But he was in it. Bridget Fonda, John Cusack. Period piece about the invention of cereal.
You know what else is a period piece? It's called Red something. Oh, I blew it. What's that movie out right now?
Red Hour.
Angry something.
Angry Red Lobster.
Angry Guy? It's a Pixar movie.
Free Guy.
It's about angry. Look it up right the fuck now. Anyway, Dana.
Okay, the funniest non-comedian I've ever worked with is Anthony Hopkins because he started out as an impressionist. So he would do, like, on the set, I would do Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, well, what are you doing, Tony? And he would do Cary Grant. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe we're making a motion picture together. Okay, that's for the boomers. And then I would do Garth, and he would do Hannibal Lecter, and that's where we would kill entertaining the crew and Bridget Fonda and stuff.
Fuck yeah.
I can smell it, Garth. I can smell the licorice. Get away from me, big scary man.
God, that was fucking
Party on,
kill.
David. Have you got one?
You should have come out presenting at the Oscars with him. That would have been funny.
That year that he won the Oscar, because Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were sitting behind my wife and I at the Oscars. And so as a joke, I kept standing up to start a fake standing ovation every time, you know, and Cruise got really into it. So we were both doing it the whole time. And then when, you know, Anthony Hopkins wins the Oscar, we did it and then everyone went up.
Worked
So
out.
we got a standing though.
I don't know who mine would be. And did you find the name of that movie? Turning Red, Dana, which is a movie, Pixar, and I just found out what it's about.
And?
Periods.
Really?
The whole movie is Turning Red, meaning it's a girl and she hits like 13 or whatever. And anyway.
Well, it's great. Where can we see that?
You know,
Let me write, what are the times and dates?
Let's go to the Grove and see that.
There's a movie also on
12,
Hulu
2, and 4.
called AW. Why not? It's a whole feature film about anal warts.
It says, why not?
I'm making this up.
I was about to say.
Sorry. Greg likes that one.
Dog it.
I mean, it's a nice topic for a feature film. The first act is a little slow and then it really picks up.
You know who's really funny is Brad Pitt is also someone who I'd like to see SNL be a host because he is funny.
Yes.
And he's a funny, you know, I don't think that's the number one thing people think of him, but he's very funny and kind of sly with it, and he'd be a great host. He'd fucking kill it. Probably, obviously doesn't need to do it, but should do it for the fun of it, because I think he would have fun, even though it's fucking terrifying.
Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is my favorite movie of the last few years. I've seen it 12 times. He's really funny in that. He has, what they do at the end of the movie is he smokes an LSD joint and he comes back and then all these evil people are attacking him, you know, and he's like, you know, he has this laugh. I remember you. I remember your little white face. And he talks to a guy who's got a gun on him, evil, and he goes, and you were on a horsey. Brandy?
Yeah, listen, that part's not going to be as funny without him being funny. I mean, it's just a cool movie, and then he adds something to it that makes it great. So that's that answer.